The Firebirds are in Falmouth today for game number 36 on the season. A win yesterday against Wareham, a 10-6 final. Dylan Pescatore, Ian Nicholas here on the Birds Broadcast Network. A gorgeous day here in Falmouth with not a cloud in the sky. Ian, before the off day tomorrow, the Firebirds are trying to get a two-game winning streak going after a few losing streaks earlier in the season. Here was actually a place where they broke the 5-game losing streak earlier in the year, and they started today at Falmouth.
That was one of the best games of the month of June for Orleans. And part of it, like you said, is because the Birds broke their worst losing streak of the summer against these Falmouth Commodores when the Doors were off to a slow start to the year. It was a 5-4 win here from Guv Fuller Field. Fenwick Trimble drove in 2 runs, trying to drive in some more tonight as he's in the heart of the order for Kelly Nicholson. But I think that game will be known most for 2 things. Jake Casey with his first home run of the year down the right field line to give Orleans some cushion in the 9th inning. And then in that 9th inning, unbelievable Sean Matson. We saw him for the first time in the closer role for Kelly Nicholson. He got the save in the 9th inning and did it in spectacular fashion and set the tone for what would be a great summer for the Harvard Star.
A 5-4 win that night in their first meeting here in Falmouth. Ever since 2021, and listen closely, ever since 2021, it's been the road team to win every single game in a matchup between both of these teams. So the matchup, and that stat favors the Firebirds today. They need a win after a win yesterday, but it wasn't all perfect and stars, Ian.
No, it wasn't. There's a lot of good takeaways. The one being, driving in runners when they're in scoring position. In the previous 5 games for the Firebirds, in which the Birds only had 1 win in that 5-game stretch headed into yesterday's game against Wareham, Orleans had stranded at least 8 base runners in every single game. But yesterday, you drive in a ton of runs off homers alone. You hit 4 home runs on the game, including 2 from the All-Star Joe Oyama. And then you only left 4 runners on base. So 10 hits on Sunday in the loss to YD, 10 hits in the win yesterday against Wareham, but 10 runs yesterday, none on Sunday. That's baseball. It's a weird game. Overall, the pitching was up and down. You gave up a few runs late in the ball game when it didn't matter. Chase Hungate pitched 3 innings. I thought he was really good, and I don't think that 9th inning should be held too much against him. And there was some defensive miscues that ultimately cost Derek Clark 3 earned runs. Originally, they were unearned, and then later a reversed error was taken off the board against him. So overall, defense needs to shore up a little bit. The offense looked very good yesterday, and the pitching was, solid. I think Derek Clark was fantastic once again, and Chase Hungate was good out of the bullpen.
The offense did the job yesterday, 10 runs. Now, a big part of this offense yesterday was Joe Oyama. He's been a huge part of this offense all season. 2 home runs yesterday for Joe. And our sideline reporter, Sammy Miller, has more.
Thanks, Dylan. Joe Oyama is finally getting a much-needed night off after playing 29 straight games at second base for the Firebirds this summer. A lot of weight has been put on his shoulders being the leadoff hitter for Orleans, but he has done a phenomenal job day in and day out helping the Firebirds get their offense going early on. After Joe's 2 home runs last night, I talked to him, and he said he was so happy about the win, but was absolutely exhausted. So this off day is going to be huge, as well as tomorrow's scheduled off day for the team, especially with a doubleheader against Chatham on Friday. But I know that even though Joe won't be on the field tonight, he's still going to be that team player like he always is and really bring that energy in the dugout. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. Joe Oyama has been a revelation for this team and this offense on both sides of the ball as well. Today, the leadoff hitter is Jack Penny. And Ian, let's go through the starting 9 for the Firebirds.
Sure. It starts with Penny, the rising junior from Notre Dame, playing at shortstop once again tonight for Orleans. Batting second is the second baseman, making his first start of the summer at second base in Drew Farreau. Batting third is the designated hitter, Eddie Micheletti. Batting fourth is the first baseman, Matt Hallback, his 15th straight start at first base. Brandon Stallman is playing on the hot corner and batting fifth. Eddie King, one of the hottest bats in this lineup, is in center field batting sixth. Fenwick Trimble is in right batting seventh. Owen Carpellotti, the catcher, batting eighth. And rounding out the order for 18th year manager Kelly Nicholson is the left fielder Colin Tuft.
That's the starting 9 for the Firebirds. some still in, and a big day yesterday. We talked about Joe Oyama with 2 home runs. Home runs by Eddie King, a 3-run shot from him, and then a solo shot from Colin Tuft in the 8th. Those are 2 bats that the Firebirds really need to wake up in the final week or so of the season.
Both of them are outfielders that provide a lot of range and defensive skill for Orleans. So there are plenty of reasons why Kelly Nicholson would want them in the lineup. They're also very athletic. They've all stolen, King and Tuft, multiple bags on the summer. King leads his team in stolen bases, but you're going to get in the lineup night in and night out, not because of the little things, but because you can hit the ball and you can hit it consistently. And, I talked to Eddie King before the game, and he mentioned a lot of really good things about his swing as of late, with 3 hits against YD and then a home run yesterday, a 3-run home run to give the Birds the lead against the Gatemen.
That's right, Ian. You talked to him. So let's go to it. Ian with Eddie King on the
Back on the scorching start here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Ian Nicholas alongside Louisville outfielder Eddie King Jr. Eddie, these last 2 games have been great for you. Let's go back to Sunday, that 3-hit performance in the loss to YD. I know the entire offense couldn't really get it going, but why do you think that was your day to have your first 3-hit day as a Firebird?
I was just locked in from the start, especially just after my first at-bat. Well, going into my first at-bat, I knew I had to have a big at-bat for the team, try to get a run in. It didn't, I got a hit, but Eddie didn't score, but it felt really good to come through for my team that day.
And what did it mean to, have that day, even though the guys around you weren't necessarily, unfortunately, couldn't drive in the runs? What did it mean for you to step up in that big spot, keep the guys in it in a way?
Yeah, it's just, big for me to, come through for my team, just get my confidence back up so I can have big moments. Even the last home run, I just hit 3-run home run. So just having the confidence to come through in the big moments is just really key.
Can you walk me through that at-bat and that big win? What did it feel not only to hit the home run, but to be the home run to take the lead in a big win?
So, I was honestly sitting on the slider right there because he threw me 4 sliders, my first at-bat, 2 fastballs. So I figured he'd throw me another one. So I went up there, first pitch, sat on the slider, gave it to me, just went with it.
And what was that for the offense? 4 home runs in a game, right? How big is that performance for this whole group?
That's huge. Anytime an offense can have a day like that, it's you're almost guaranteed to win. But that's really huge for us.
Here on with Eddie King here on the Scorching Start. When it's so late in the summer and you've already played so much baseball, how do you find different ways to continue to improve and to continue to find new things to work on?
It's just you got to go with the flow. Figure out what's not working for you, figure out what's working for you. So it's just, I guess, trying new things out, just seeing what fits with you. And, you just have to know your personnel after, every day this summer. So I think just finding your rhythm it's a big part.
Certainly finding his rhythm as of late. Eddie King Jr. joining us here on the Scorching Start. Eddie, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Back here on the Scorching Start on the Birds Broadcast Network. We're about 5 minutes away till first pitch between the Orleans Firebirds and the Falmouth Commodores. We're going to head to the anthem before we come back and preview the starting pitchers and the lineups for these 2 teams. with the anthem being done. We're about minutes away, 2 or 3 from first pitch between the Commodores and the Firebirds. We gave you the Firebirds lineup. Now we'll go over the starting 9 for Falmouth. Ian, who do they got in their lineup?
Leading off for Jeff Trundy's crew is the right fielder, Barry Walsh, batting second. He hit for the cycle the last time he played the Firebirds. Oregon State's Travis Bizana playing shortstop. Walker Yannick bats third, and he's playing at third. Tyler McGregor is the first baseman batting cleanup. Luke Heyman batting fifth. He's doing the catching. Gavin Turley, who's broken out of an early season slump and has been fantastic as of late for the Commodores, bats sixth and plays in left. Nathan Humphreys is the center fielder batting seventh. Caleb Hall bats eighth, the designated hitter, and rounding out the order for Trundy's crew is Sean Darnell, the second baseman.
That's the starting 9 for Falmouth. They'll be facing a man making his second start for the Orleans Firebirds. It's Jonathan Gonzalez. His 8th appearance, his second start. Like I said, he has been outstanding, an all-star here in the Cape Cod Baseball League, pitching to a 2.07 ERA in 17 innings, including 18 strikeouts in his first start, which was on Sunday against Cotuit 2 Sundays ago. He pitched 4 innings, 2 walks, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, and 2 strikeouts. Ian, Gonzalez has been one of the more reliable and one of the more consistent pitchers for the Firebirds the entire season. What do you expect from him tonight against Falmouth?
Expect really good things out of Gonzalez, and all summer long his changeup has been his go-to pitch, and it's just been something he's consistently been able to rely on to get swing and miss and to land in the zone and fool batters. And if Gonzalez can continue to provide that elite level changeup tonight, he's going to continue to be the player he was during his junior season at Stetson, where he came out of a bullpen 11 times, but he also started 7 times, and more importantly, pitched 72 innings. Gonzalez is one of the veterans of his Firebirds team, not only because he's pitched multiple innings in almost every single outing this summer, whether it's been out of a bullpen or in the starting rotation as he's been over the last week and a half. Jonathan Gonzalez just so steady on the mound. The big thing I always love from him is that regardless of how hectic it can get, gave up 6 hits, walked a couple batters in his last start, only gives up 2 earned runs. He works through traffic in high-pressure situations. Do not face him.
So that's the starting pitcher for Falmouth. Now we'll talk about the pitcher who just stepped on the mound for the Commodores. We talked about Gonzalez, the starting pitcher for Orleans. It's Jacob Smith, number 40, the left-handed pitcher, standing at 6'7", can reach upwards of the mid-90s and go all the way down to 70 miles per hour. Smith has been really good for this Falmouth team this year. A 2.19 ERA in 12 innings pitched and only 3 runs allowed. 18 strikeouts as well. He's been dominant.
Smith, somebody you would refer to as, I guess, a JUCO bandit, because he's here on the Cape as a veteran journeyman of a collegiate landscape. 23 years old. He spent time at Chippewa Junior College, Wallace State, the UT Martin. Just finished up a season with West Alabama. And as you mentioned, the velo drop with him is something that's fooled a lot of batters this summer, with a 2 ERA on the year across 3 appearances. 90 miles an hour with the fastball, down to 70, maybe even 69 miles an hour with the curveball. How do you adjust to that if you're in the batter's box? First time around, he's probably going to dominate, but second, third time around, if he gets there, how does Orleans adjust?
He's only allowed 13 hits in 12 1/3. He's gotten 18 strikeouts. He doesn't walk anybody. He's the perfect pitcher, and Falmouth has him on the mound tonight. A good guy, an outgoing guy. He actually, we'll get into it a little bit more, but he's very outgoing with his teammates. He's been everywhere, and he's played in a lot of summer ball leagues as well. He's played in the MLB Draft League with Williamsport. Had a 2 ERA there in 2021 in 17 innings. Played in the Northwoods League last summer in Rochester at a 2.77 ERA in 26 innings. He's been really good in summer ball, which proves for a pitcher at least that he can really come out and dominate against some of the top in the world, in the college baseball world.
You know, you look at the college and you might not be stunned, but again, you look at the build, you look at the way he's pitched, you look at how he succeeded at so many different levels. I mean, look at a guy like Derek Clark, who starts last night for Orleans, and people wonder, where did you find this guy? Well, if you can dominate in the Northwoods League, there's a pretty decent chance you could dominate in the Cape Cod Baseball League. It's one of the best leagues in the country. Same thing for Clark, same thing for Smith. He was a highly touted prospect coming out of high school, too. An Alabama guy through and through. He was a top 400 recruit in the nation, one of the top 50 left-handed pitchers in his recruiting class. And again, he's experienced. He graduated high school 5 years ago, so he knows how to trust his stuff. He knows what he's doing out there. He's a veteran of the game.
Leading off for the Firebirds is Jack Penny. First time he's leading off for the Birds this season in place of Joe Oyama. 29 straight games Oyama played today. He gets a day off before the actual off day tomorrow. The Firebirds in their red undershirts with black vests and white writing with the red trim around their chest. And number 11, Jack Penny, steps in against Jacob Smith. The first pitch fastball is high, and we are underway at 6:02 here in Falmouth. Smith, as we said, 6'7", a tall, lanky guy on the mound. Kicks and deals the 1-0, inside 2-0 to Penny. He's not going to walk a lot. He's only allowed 13 hits in 12 innings. Been really good for this Falmouth team. It's going to be tough for Orleans to come through and put up big numbers. Top one, the 2-0 pitch is high. 3 straight balls to start the outing for Smith.
3 straight offerings at 90 miles an hour. Somebody who's not going to expand his zone is Jack Penny. Top 10 in the league and second on Orleans in walks headed into tonight's game, only behind Joe Oyama.
Not a bad player to put at the leadoff spot as he takes a strike when Joe Oyama needs an off day. Penny with hits in his last 3 games, including a double in last night's 10-6 win against Wareham to left center field. He's truly been going the opposite field a little bit more than usual, and it's been paying off for him. The count 3-1. Smith sets at the belt. The pitch is a fastball for a strike.
Smith not going to the off-speed offerings just yet. He's got a deep pitch mix. He's been known to throw upwards of 7 pitches, all said and told. Does he go off-speed here? Maybe a breaking ball.
From 3-0 to a full count against Penny, who leads off for the Birds. The full count pitch is inside, ball 4. Jack Penny leads off the game with a walk.
Now, there are characteristics that you want with every leadoff guy. Usually good speed, makes a lot of contact, gets on base, and walks. And Jack Penny picking up right where Joe Oyama left off. First time in 30 games he hasn't been leading off, but Penny's going to make sure that the offense can follow his lead.
Drew Farrow bats second. The switch hitter batting from the right side against the lefty. Smith takes a fastball for a strike on the outside corner. Farrow, when we talked to him at the start of the season, he mentioned that he wanted to decrease his strikeout rate from his freshman year at UCF, transferring to Florida State in the fall. The 0-1 pitch is rocked to left, but right there is left fielder Turley. He makes the catch. Another loud out for Farrow, as Turley was right there to catch the hardline drive.
Drew Farrow, who has had a very good month of July after a bit of a slow start to his summer in June. Now in a bit of a slump once again. 0 for his last 8, but whenever he does get out, it's loud outs. Just like that. Cracked deep into the outfield, and unfortunately sometimes straight into the glove of a corner outfielder.
Eddie Micheletti Jr., the lefty against the lefty Smith. Penny on first. He'll get a pickoff throw over to him. We'll set the Falmouth defense up for you. Turley, Humphreys, and Walsh from left to right. In the outfield, Yannick, Bazana, Darnell, and McGregor from third to first. The big curveball is fouled first base side by Micheletti. Count 0-1. And doing the catching tonight is Luke Heyman out of Florida for Jacob Smith, the lefty starting pitcher for Falmouth. Firebirds come in at an even 18-18 record, looking to get above 500 before the off day. The 0-1 is low.
And you talked about all the names on the defensive side of things, all the names in the order. For Falmouth, it's a lot of new names for Jeff Trundy's crew. Outside of Travis Bazana and Gavin Turley and Yannick, new faces all around.
Constant turnover in the league. The 2-1 is low. Heyman blocks the big curveball that clocks in at 70 miles per hour. A lot of versatility when we talk about Smith's pitch repertoire. But how much can he throw for strikes? So far this season has not been a problem. 2-1 the count to Micheletti with Penny off first and 1 out. is a fastball for a strike at the bottom of the zone.
Now, outside of a rough outing at Bourne, in which he allowed 7 hits in 4 innings, still only gave up 2 runs in that game. He's limited the ability to get the ball into the outfield and to drive good pitches.
Pitched in 3 games. This is his 3rd start, 4th appearance. Micheletti goes down swinging on the breaking ball in the dirt for out number 2. First strikeout of the night for Smith.
We talked about the strikeout numbers off a jump. There's his first tonight. 18 Ks and 12 1/3 headed into this game. And his deep repertoire makes it confusing in the batter's box, especially the first time around.
And up comes the cleanup hitter, Matt Hallback, out of UC San Diego. Smith will throw back to first. Penny wasn't sure if Smith was going to the plate. Lefties are always hard to read, and Smith holds his leg up in the air for a considerable amount of time, confusing base runners. 2 outs here in the top of the first of a scoreless game. The first pitch to Hallback is the big curveball for a strike to the righty. The rising junior with a triple last night, his 2nd on the season. Showing off a little bit of that speed. Doesn't fall into the slow power hitter stereotype of the cleanup hitter. Takes the fastball high for ball 1. Counts even.
Got to give credit to Matt Hallback. The way he runs the bases, you think he's running away from, I don't know, a boogeyman. He runs at 150 miles an hour out there. Nearly loses the helmet every single time.
He's got such nice hair. The blonde hair under the helmet. The big curveball is low. It's a looping vertical 12-6 breaking ball offering. I can start upwards of the chest out of the hand of Hallback, or out of the hand of Smith at the chest of Hallback, and dash into the dirt. A lot of movement on it. The count 2-1. Penny takes his lead. Pitch is high and outside. 3-1 to Hallback.
Hallback has been the most consistent bat in the lineup over the last week. Leads the team in hits in the last 6 games, 10 for 25. Only struck out 4 times.
3-1 the count. Smith peers at first, fires, and Hallback swings and lines it to right field. It will get into the glove of Walsh. Another hard-hit ball, but right into the glove of a Falmouth outfielder. Smith allows a leadoff walk, but nothing else in the first. We stay scoreless as we go to the bottom of the frame here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Firebirds had a leadoff walk in the top of the first. They couldn't do anything with it. So up comes Falmouth in the bottom of the first of a scoreless game. Jonathan Gonzalez to the mound for the Firebirds. Today, the lefty out of Stetson was an all-star this season in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Has pitched really well for this team. A 2.07 ERA. He's a rising senior at Stetson in DeLand, Florida. He's been really good. Like I said, 2 ERA, 17 innings pitched, 6 walks, 22 hits allowed, and 18 strikeouts. It's his 2nd start as well for the Firebirds, but his 8th appearance.
Jonathan Gonzalez is somebody who needs to be on his A game if the Birds want to make a deep run, want to clinch a playoff spot potentially in these next couple days. Gonzalez has had 3 solid years at Stetson. A good year last summer, an all-star in the NECBL with the Mystic Schooners. It's only gotten even better since he's come here to the Cape, and that's why he was pitching in the all-star game on Saturday.
That's the last time he did pitch. 2/3 of an inning, allowing a hit and striking out 2 in the all-star game, like you said, back on Saturday His last appearance with the Firebirds was 10 days ago, a 4-inning start against Cotuit in a 6-5 win. Barry Walsh, the righty out of Boston College, has only played 3 games with Falmouth. This is game number 4, and he'll lead it off for the Commodores. First pitch from Gonzalez is low here in the bottom of the first. Walsh went 4 for 4 in his first game with Falmouth. He swings and checks his swing, but he went too far around for strike number 1. And a ball in the dirt. Chopper, foul ball, and caught by the third base coach of the Commodores. 1-2 the count against Walsh.
Walsh just finished up his latest season with Boston College in-state program, obviously, in Chestnut Hill.
The 1-2 pitch from Gonzalez is low. Him and another Cape Cod Baseball League pitcher right here on Falmouth, Joey Ryan, roommates with Barry Walsh. The 2-2, called strike 3. Gonzalez gets the fastball to go on the inside corner for strikeout number 1 here in the first.
It's a good start for Gonzalez. In a battle with a new man in his order, new face. It's difficult if you're a position player just entering the gate.
And up comes Travis Bazzana, a star for this Commodore team. He takes a fastball for a strike from Gonzalez. The lefty out of Oregon State had an incredible year. Hit .374 as a Beaver. Takes low for ball 1. Pac-12 first team last year and this past year. An All-American freshman as well in 2022. Fouls away the 1-1 to the backstop with 1 out and the base is empty. He's been everything for this team. He also hit a cycle against the Firebirds last time these two matched up. The 1-2 from Gonzalez to Bazzana is low with the changeup, scooped up by Carpellotti. We'll go around the defense for the Firebirds right after this 2-2 pitch from Gonzalez. He's working quickly. He fires it low. Full count to lefty Bazzana. From left to right in the outfield, Colin Tuft, Eddie King, and Fenwick Trimble. Third to first, Stallman, Penny, Farrow, and Hallback. With Carpellotti doing the catching, Bazzana lines the full count pitch up the middle for a base hit. A 1-out single for Bazzana here in the first.
A good at bat and another knock for Travis Bazzana against Orleans. It was all the way back on the 8th of the month when the Commodores handed Orleans a 6-3 loss from Eldridge. And a difficult day for Orleans. Couldn't capitalize on 4 errors from Falmouth and couldn't slow down Travis Bazzana, who went 5 for 5.
Here's a day 1 Commodore, Walker Yannick, batting third from the right side out of Sam Houston State. Takes outside for ball 1. Yannick usually does the catching for these Commodores, but playing third base tonight. Bazzana dances off first. Gonzalez throws over to check on him. Held on by Matt Hallback. Yannick 0 for 2 last night, did score 2 runs and walk twice. Swing and a miss at the changeup. Gonzalez pulls the string at 74 miles per hour, 1-1 with 1 out.
You mentioned Yannick walked twice in last night's game. Only 7 walks on the summer across 83 at-bats total.
Gonzalez stares down Bazzana. Yannick goes the other way into right field for a base hit. Bazzana's thinking 3, and he's going to go 3. Round second and ends up at third base. A single for Yannick. And Falmouth has runners on the corners with 1 out in the first.
Mentioned it right before the game. Now, these are situations that I don't want to say Jonathan Gonzalez has thrived in, but he has an ability to work through traffic. 2 runners on, 1 out. You know, a 1.5 whip for Gonzalez on the summer. His last start came with traffic on the base paths too. Still got out of 4 innings, only allowing 2 earned.
Brings up Tyler McGregor out of Northeastern, the lefty first baseman. The Firebirds shift. They bring over shortstop Jack Penny onto the right side of second base. First pitch from Gonzalez to McGregor is a strike on the outside corner. On third is Bazzana. He singled. On first is Yannick, who also had a base hit. 1 out, bottom of the first of a scoreless game. Gonzalez is 0-1, swing and a miss. A changeup, which got McGregor out in front.
This could be a big opportunity for McGregor to get his season back on track. He had such a great start to the summer, but only one for his last 15.
0-2 the count. Gonzalez needs a strikeout. He gets it. Another changeup. And he sits down McGregor on 3 pitches for out number 2.
In need of an out, you have to go to your best pitch, your best stuff. And all summer, it's been the changeup for Gonzalez, attacking a batter in McGregor with such good power and the ability to break a game wide open with 1 swing and 2 runners on, and Gonzalez attacks him and sits him for out number 2.
It brings up Luke Heyman, the rising sophomore out of Florida, with runners on the corner, swinging first pitch, base hit into left field. In comes Bazana. To second goes Yannick, and an RBI single for Luke Heyman to put the Falmouth Commodores up 1-0 in the first.
These Florida Gators are pretty good, aren't they? There's a reason why they were playing in the College World Series, and whatever teams add a Gator in the Cape Cod Baseball League have been reaping the benefits. Heyman in the middle of this order provides the blow, and that's what happens when you get 2 base runners on your first 3 of the game. Somebody's going to do damage in the heart of your order.
2 outs, 1 run in for Falmouth. On second is Yannick, and on first is Heyman. A first pitch strike fired to Gavin Turley, who did not have a good start to his summer. Going 0 for 24, but ever since he's been really good. His last 6 games, 10 hits, 4 of them with 2 or more. Another hard hit ball into center. Back goes Eddie King, and he'll make a catch. About 5 paces before the warning track in center field here at Guv Fuller Field. Eddie King makes the catch to get Gonzalez out of the jam. Allows 1 run here in the bottom of the first on an RBI single from Luke Heyman. 1-0 is the score as we go to the second between Falmouth and Orleans. A leadoff walk for the Firebirds in the top of the first. They can't come through and move Jack Penny over and in. Falmouth does just that in the bottom of the frame, scoring 1 run on an RBI single from Luke Heyman. 1-0 is the score as we go to the top of the second. Jacob Smith against Brandon Stallman, the 5th hitter for the Firebirds. He takes a strike on a slider from the lefty Smith. Stallman has been really good for this team. He's come in a little bit late in this season. This is 8th start for the Firebirds. Takes outside 1-1. He's had hits in 5 of his 7 starts, and 4 of those have been 2 or more hits. The count even at 1-1 with nobody out here in the top of the second. The big curveball in for a strike. It's almost like an ephus pitch. Moves so much from high to low. 1-2 the count as an airplane flies above us here in Falmouth. It's low. Stallman takes.
You know, Stallman is somebody who fits the mold of what this Orleans Firebirds offense wants to do. He's only struck out 4 times in 28 at-bats here on the Cape. Not easy making the transition from metal bat to wood bat. This Firebirds team strikes out the 3rd least the entire league.
2-2 the count. Smith sets and deals low. Did Stallman go? He did not. Checked his swing. Count runs full. The lefty Stallman of UNC Charlotte does have wood bat experience last year, playing for the High Point High Toms.
The Coastal Plains League.
Hit well there, hit 270. Another big curveball, and the full count pitch is low, and a leadoff walk once again for the Firebirds. This time it's Brandon Stallman, who's on first with nobody out, and up comes Eddie King.
You got to take advantage of the free passes that you're given. Orleans couldn't last inning, like you said, to start this one with a leadoff walk from Jack Penny and then a fly-out, strikeout, fly-out. Eddie King with 4 hits in his last 2 days, trying to stay hot.
And a big hit yesterday, a 3-run home run against Wareham. Takes the ball outside from Smith, the lefty. A lot of lefties at the top of this order for the Firebirds. Jack Penny, Eddie Micheletti, Brandon Stallman. Smith's numbers actually are reverse of the splits as King takes a ball just low on the fastball, 2-0. A lefty who usually performs well against other lefties in terms of the batters. It's not the case for Smith. Performs better against righties. The 2-0 to King is low, 3-0. And Smith is on the verge of walking his 2nd straight batter. 3rd overall.
Smith had only handed out 4 walks all summer across 12 innings pitched, headed into tonight.
Stallman off first, the count 3-0 with nobody out in the top of the 2nd. And the pitch is low and outside. A 4-pitch walk to Eddie King. He'll take first, Stallman to 2nd, and 2 on with nobody out for Orleans. It brings up Fenwick Trimble.
Last time Fenwick Trimble was here from Guv Fuller Field, as Heyman heads to the mound, the catcher, to talk with his pitcher Smith, as well as his shortstop Travis Bizana. Last time Fenwick Trimble was here, he had one of his more productive days of the summer with 2 hits and 2 runs driven in, and that low scoring, very intense 5-4 ball game. Just a couple infield hits for Trimble, but just, again, not hard hit, but put the bat on the ball in big situations. Comes up in another big situation here.
Runner on 2nd, Stallman. Runner on first is Eddie King. Nobody out, top of the 2nd. Falmouth up 1-0. And the first baseman, McGregor, is not holding on King. He's expecting a bunt from Fenwick Trimble. Comes into this game hitting .216 on the summer out of James Madison. The first pitch from Smith is low. Trimble does not square to bunt. This would usually be a spot where Orleans does try to lay down a bunt down the 1st or 3rd base line. Doesn't seem like they will here with Fenwick up to bat. Smith has now fired 6 straight balls since the Stallman at bat. The 1-0 is a strike just at the top of the zone with the fastball. 1-1 the count. Still nobody out on an absolutely gorgeous day here in Falmouth. And also a breeze going from right to left. Smith and Heyman get on the same page after a few head nods. The 1-1 pitch is lined right into the glove of Bizana at shortstop. A hard hit ball by Trimble, but another loud out by the Firebirds. A line drive to short.
Another pitch up in the zone that Trimble swung at and hit that hard. Unfortunately, Bizana, who's not even playing his natural position of second base tonight, lunges towards his left, makes the snag.
A line drive that came off the bat of Trimble at 84 miles per hour. Caught by Bizana. The first pitch to Carpellotti is low, and a good block by Heyman. Keeps the runners where they are. Stallman at 2nd and King at 1st. Carpellotti, the catcher out of Georgetown, comes in hitting .209 this summer, but has really had two parts to his season. Smith with a long pause. The 1-0 pitch is a fastball that's high and outside. From opening day, June 10th to July 1st, Carp was only hitting 152, but ever since that day, which started with the Wareham walk-off on July 2nd, he's been hitting 265. Smith's 2-0 to Carpellotti is lifted in the air to right field. Not deep, average depth. Caught by Humphreys. Stallman fakes the tag, and he'll head back. Carpellotti retired, 2 outs.
For Carpellotti, it's been cutting down on the strikeouts this summer. Unfortunately, here in the second inning, similar situation to the first. You get a couple free passes, but quieter at bats after that. Somebody who had a big at bat to end his night last night, Colin Tuft. His first home run as a Firebird. Didn't come in a meaningful moment in the game against Wareham. Can he deliver another big hit with 2 runners on?
Tuft, the 9-hitter for the Birds. Up with 2 outs and 2 on. Jacob Smith 1 out away from getting out of a first and second nobody out jam created by 2 walks. The first pitch is a strike to Tuft on the inside corner. Also had 2 hits last night, came around to score twice. A big night for Tuft as he looks to cement his place in the outfield permanently for Orleans. Smith looks back at second. Now to the plate, the 0-1 pitch. A swing and a miss by Tuft. The slow breaking ball at 69 miles per hour gets the swing and miss.
It's going to be really hard to adjust to right now if you're Orleans. You're throwing that fastball in the high 80s, low 90s. Even that curve just drops off a table, seemingly 20-mile-an-hour difference.
Another look at second. 0-2 with 2 outs. The pitch is high and outside, and it goes to the backstop. The Firebirds runners will move up. Stallman to third. King to second. A fastball that just got away from Smith, and Heyman couldn't pick it out of the air.
Now a single could potentially score 2 runs. Brandon Stallman with fine speed at third, but Eddie King, arguably the fastest player on his Firebirds team at second base. You move him up in the scoring position, and this just gets even more intense.
1-2 the count after the wild pitch. Tuft up to bat the righty. Heading to Tulane in the fall. With 2 in scoring position. Smith with a deep breath. The 1-2 pitch. Tuft fouls it off into the Firebirds dugout. And the 1-2 will have to be done again.
That was a good pitch. Low and away to Tuft. But in the zone. A good swing to stay alive behind an account.
Tuft with a home run to left field down the line yesterday, along with a single to right. Down 1-2 in the count. And the pitch, the slow breaking ball, gets him to swing and miss. Tagged by Heyman. A strikeout for Smith. He allowed 2 walks to start the inning. He gets out of the jam. The Firebirds leave 2 in scoring position as we go to the bottom of the second. Still 1-0 Falmouth. 2 runners left in scoring position for Orleans in the top of the second. Here in the bottom of the frame, Falmouth, who's due up for them, 7, 8, and 9. Starts with Nathan Humphreys out of Dallas Baptist, another lefty for Falmouth. First pitch from Jonathan Gonzalez is a strike. Bottom 2, 1-0 Falmouth the score. Both teams have threatened for more. The 0-1 outside, another strike.
Gonzalez, who came into the game having allowed 22 hits in 17 innings, surrendered 3 in the first.
The 1-1 is low with the fastball.
The last one came back to bite him with 2 outs after 2 Ks, run-scoring single.
Did the batter go? Yes, he did. Make that 2-2 the count. After the first pitch was a ball, so the count even. 2-2, nobody out to Humphreys. Gonzalez working really quickly. Pitch is low with the changeup. No bite from Humphreys. When Gonzalez is going and pitching well, he definitely picks up the pace. The full count pitch on the ground. 2-hopper to second. Drew Farreau throws to first for the out. Farreau, who's primarily a shortstop, has primarily played shortstop for the Firebirds this season, with Jack Penny hitting so well and playing a good shortstop defensively as well. Farreau moves over to second tonight, gets his bat in the lineup, a position he hasn't played since junior year of high school in Tallahassee. Caleb Hall takes a strike in the bottom part of the zone, a righty in the 8-hole out of North Greenville University. He's doing the DHing tonight for Falmouth. 0-1 is outside.
Who knows if Farreau will play that with Link Jarrett back in Tallahassee with Florida State. He struggled at shortstop, but you want his bat in the lineup, and he's playing second.
1-1 is fouled away off the netting. It'll be interesting because that Florida State infield is pretty loaded, including with some Cape Cod Baseball League potential All-Stars, potential MVPs. The 1-2 is low. You have Cam Smith from Hyannis. He's been having an incredible summer at third base, and James Tibbs III from Brewster at first. The 2-2 fastball, cold, strike 3 on the inside corner. Gonzalez's 3rd strikeout of the night and the 2nd out here in the second.
I mean, how do you touch that? That's right on the inside part of a plate. Painting is Gonzalez, keeping it away from the heart of the zone against the Falmouth team. That's really good offensively. The 3rd most runs scored in the league headed into today.
Sean Darnell, the lefty, out of Wallace Community College, takes a fastball for a strike from Gonzalez. His 3rd game, Darnell, with the Commodores. Gone 3 for 9, including a run scored. The 0-1, another fastball. This one just a little bit low, 1-1. Gonzalez looking to go 1-2-3 in the second after giving up 3 hits in the first. The 1-1 is a slider that's pulled foul to the Falmouth dugout.
So when Gonzalez is at his best, not only working quickly, like you've already mentioned, but getting ahead in the count.
1-2, 2 outs, nobody on. Falmouth up 1-0 here in the bottom of the second. And the pitch, a strikeout. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 4. Darnell even loses the bat on the swing. Gonzalez strikes out 2 in a 1-2-3 second inning and keeps the score 1-0 Falmouth as we head to the 3rd.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. The Falmouth Commodores are currently up 1-0, heading to the top of the 3rd. Now, one coach that Firebirds manager Kelly Nicholson looks at as inspiration on how to run a proper organization is none other than Patriots head coach Bill Belichick, who's one of the greatest coaches of all time. One quote that Kelly Nicholson has been emphasizing to his team comes from the Pats legend, reading, "The team has to come first, even though we all have individual goals and preferences. If you pay attention and you're coachable and you work hard, you've got to improve. That's really what it's all about." This encapsulates perfectly what they're trying to do in Orleans. They're uniting together for one goal. While other teams are starting to tune out and not care as much, this Firebirds team is as locked in as ever before, which should be a scary sight for their opponents. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. Summer ball is such an interesting thingy, and when we talk about who's locked in, who's not, it's a lot of baseball for these guys. They already played a 50, at times 60, and we're talking about Luke Heyman behind the plate, going all the way to the College World Series Game 3. It's a lot of baseball. They got to be tired. Their body's got to be at their limits. But this Firebirds team looks as locked in as they can get.
Even after losing 4 of 5 games headed into last night's affair against Wareham, this team still had the urgency and understanding to know they needed to win that game, and they showed out.
Back to the top of the order, Jack Penny takes high from Smith. Penny walked back in the third.
You know, it's funny. Sammy mentions Bill Belichick. Jack Penny went to Phillips Academy, the Wakefield, Massachusetts native, the alma mater of the New England Patriots head coach.
Look at that. Has some Belichick connection right there. The 1-0 fastball in the zone for a strike. Smith did struggle in the second, at least at the start of the inning, with 2 walks back-to-back. Stallman and King reached. But a line out, a fly out, and a strikeout got him out of that jam and left 2 runners on for Orleans. The 1-1 to Penny. A strike as he checked his swing. It was called a strike anyway. On the slow breaking ball, the second time around, the Firebirds get to see Smith and his pitch that he finds out of his toolbox. 1-2 the count. Smith kicks and fires a fastball high in the zone that Penny swings at and fouls away at 90 miles per hour out of the hand of Smith. Such a crafty lefty, and that's a phrase that is used a lot, but truly is. We talked about the velocity difference from 90 all the way down to just below 70. The 1-2 pitch just outside.
And you got to like the pitch location, too. He's keeping the fastball up. A lot of the breaking offerings, the off-speed pitches finishing down, nothing. And that inner half of the plate from Smith, who knows a guy like Jack Penny and anybody at the top of this order can do damage with that.
2-2, nobody out, top of the third. The pitch is smacked foul, left field side out of play. 1-0 Falmouth. Orleans still looking for hit number 1 on the night. They've had 3 base runners, all coming off walks. And Smith started this inning with a strike rate. We're talking about pitches, balls to strikes. Only 46%. The 2-2 again. The slow breaking ball that's outside runs the count full. And another full count for these Firebirds against Smith.
This is the second time through the order. Exactly. Here in the third inning. Starting to find their familiarity with this dominant pitcher.
Smith from the belt. The payoff pitch. Penny pops it up into center. Well hit. Back to the track at the wall. It's gone! A solo shot for Jack Penny as he smacks it out to right center field. Penny taps home plate and ties the game at 1. A 400-foot shot to right center field. 1-1.
I was talking so highly of the pitch location of Smith, but the 90-mile-an-hour fastball right down the heart of the plate. And a great at-bat ends in a great result because Penny waited for his pitch and smacked it.
The righty Drew Farrow comes up and takes that big breaking ball for a strike. First hit for the Firebirds, first run for the Firebirds. A solo shot by Jack Penny to get the Birds on the board. 0-1, Farrow chases the curveball in the dirt. That's Penny's 3rd home run on the summer and 13th RBI. It's been so clutch for this team. He's had a few big hits just like that one.
He'll get his 4th when the game is resumed against Chatham on Friday, too, in that doubleheader at Veterans Field.
That's right, a 2-run shot in that one. Fastball runs high, 1-2 the count to Farrow. Furrow, the switch hitter from the right side. But seen him a lot from the left side. He's been facing a lot of righties today. He gets the breakout. The righty swing, and he smacks it to left field. Well hit, but right at Turley once again. Deja vu. Another line drive to left from Drew Furrow. Well hit, but into the glove of the outfielder.
315 feet fly out from Drew Furrow. Once again, you look and you see that would be gone at X ballpark, Y ballpark. Just unlucky a start for him. 2 well-hit baseballs. Both flyouts. Both could have gone the distance if they weren't from Guv Fuller.
Micheletti Jr. fouls off the first pitch from Smith. A 91-mile-per-hour lineout from Furrow, and I think we talked about it before, and he's only a rising sophomore. He's only played 1 year at college, but he has a maturity of probably a rising senior. To not get too frustrated over the results, Micheletti pulls another slow breaking ball. First base side, 0-2.
Furrow's here for a reason. He's only 19 years old. He's headed to a historic program at Florida State, one that his father played for in the 90s, and he wants to be ready for the big time. It's been an up and down summer, but he knows in college ball, you face big ups and big downs.
0-2 pitch outside. Micheletti takes. The lefty who's heading to Virginia Tech in the fall after 3 years at George Washington University. 2 walks last night. A strikeout here in the first. Here in the third, 1-2. Doesn't chase. 2-2. The count's even with 1 out and 1 runner ready across for the Firebirds here in this inning.
Rest of the offense needs to pick up what's been a great performance from Jack Penny so far. Reaching twice, hitting the home run. It kind of feels like Joe Yamasho, whoever's leading off, is doing great. Rest of the guys got to pick this up too.
Jack Penny does. We'll see if Micheletti can too. The 2-2 fastball line drive right into the glove of Bazzana. Another hard hit ball from the Firebirds caught by the Falmouth infield or outfield. A frustrating start. And up comes Matt Hallback.
It's back-to-back innings in a row that Travis Bazzana has had to stay alert at shortstop. Last time up it was Fenwick Trimble who made the first out of the second inning with a line out into the Australian's glove, and here it's the second out of the inning as Micheletti does the same.
Hallback up with 2 outs and the base is empty. Swinging first pitch, base hit up the middle into center field. Hallback hits it right where it came from. Off the mound into center, a 2-out single for Matt Hallback.
So Matt Hallback has done all summer long. His hit streak extended to 4 games for the Firebirds. An all-star who plays with full effort and is just taking good at bat after good at bat for this team, regardless of the situation that he comes up in.
Up comes Brandon Stallman, the lefty. A walk back in the second, made it all the way to third, but not brought in, and takes a strike on the off-speed pitch for strike number 1. 2 hits for the Firebirds in the game, and both came in this top of the third. A solo shot by Jack Penny, and a single by Matt Hallback, who stands off first. The 0-1 to Stallman, a line drive right at shortstop, a one-hopper. Bazzana steps on second for the out before Hallback slides into the bag. 3 outs, but 2 hits for the Firebirds, including a solo shot by Jack Penny, which ties this game at 1 as we head to the bottom of the third. Bottom of the third here from Falmouth of a tie game, 1-1 between the Firebirds and the Commodores. Ian, what are the scores around the league?
Well, the big score that Falmouth is watching tonight is at Wareham from Spillane Field, because if the Gatemen lose and the Doors win, then the Gatemen are going to help Falmouth get into the playoffs and clinch a playoff spot. That game tied at 2 apiece between the Gatemen and the Harwich Mariners in the top of the fourth. Outside of that, Hyannis beat YD 8-0 from Dunkin' Donuts Park in Connecticut. Brewster beat Chatham 5-1, and Bourne tied with Katuitt.
First pitch swing is Walsh, a 2-chopper to short. Penny makes the play as he tossed it over to Hallback for out number 1. Here in the third, Walsh 0 for 2 on the day. Not only is Falmouth watching that score in Wareham, the Birds are too. Harwich just 3 points behind Orleans for second place in the East.
That's true. You know, right now in the East Division, Orleans is just trying to hold on to that number 2 spot to host a playoff series. Orleans is yet to clinch. Cannot clinch tonight, but can clinch on Friday.
Pizzana swings first pitch and fouls at first base side. The Firebirds, and this is by my math, so you can take it for what it is. It's not easy out here with magic numbers and clinching scenarios. But a win tonight, along with a Chatham loss and a Chatham loss tomorrow, would put them in the playoffs. Chatham plays tomorrow, the only game, along with Katuitt. They play Katuitt, I believe, at Lowell Park. The 1-1 to Pizzana is low, 2-1. Pizzana singled in the first and came around to score on an RBI single by Luke Heyman. 2-1, same spot, right below the dirt. Of course, the Firebirds not only want to clinch the playoffs, like you said, they want that 2 spot so they can get home field advantage in the first round. A strike fired on the outside corner on the 3-1. Runs the count full against Pizzana. Looking to do bigger and better things. The payoff pitch is fouled away. 3-2 will stay right here.
It's a Firebirds team that has made the playoffs in 2 of the last 4 seasons. Overall, it's been a regularity for Kelly Nicholson's Crews. 13 of 17 seasons, he's got them to the postseason.
The 3-2 again is popped up on the infield to third base. Stallman and Penny. Stallman will make the catch for out number 2. Gonzalez has retired 6 in a row as Walker Yannick steps to the plate, the righty third baseman, who singled in the first.
Jonathan Gonzalez has recorded 6 outs in a row since that run-scoring single from Luke Heyman in the first inning. Working with efficiency.
Yannick batting .260 on the summer. Takes a ball outside from Gonzalez. Cannot say it enough. A beautiful day here in Falmouth near the water. The 1-0, a slider in for a strike. What does the Apple Watch say, Ian?
Yeah. Hold on. It says time to stand.
The 1-1 is cracked to left, and Tuff can only watch. A bomb by Walker Yannick, a no-doubter, as he sends it out of the park and puts Falmouth up 2-1. Yannick takes his slow trot around the base paths. His first home run this summer. It goes 400 feet for Yannick to left field.
Yannick, a home run hitter at Sam Houston State, finally gets his first 4-bagger of the summer. 13 in the spring collegiately. But this ballpark a little unforgiving. Guv Fuller Field. The last inning for both pitchers a little unforgiving with 2 moonshots.
1-0 now, 2-0 to Tyler McGregor, the lefty first baseman. Gonzalez was cruising. Like we said, he retired 6 in a row. But Yannick caught him on a 3-2 pitch. The 2-0 is low, now 3-0 to the lefty.
And how do you respond if you're Gonzalez? Because your last start, you gave up multiple runs, still got through 4 innings. Pitch count in a decent spot right now.
3-0 pitch is high and inside, a 4-pitch walk to McGregor. I know it's early. I know it's only 2-1 Falmouth, but this does seem like a turning point in the game. Can Gonzalez put the home run and walk behind him against the man who beat him in the first, an RBI single from Luke Heyman, who's now coming up for Falmouth?
I think he can. He just handed out his first free pass. I think it may be Phone Carpellotti might want to have a word with him if he can't get back to throwing strikes, which he does there.
First pitch strike with the fastball to Heyman. An RBI knock to left field in the first. The 0-1 is outside. McGregor on first. Held on by Hallback. With 2 outs in the bottom of the third of a 2-1 game that Falmouth leads. The righty Heyman hit over 300 at Florida this past spring. Takes a strike on the 85-mile-per-hour fastball. 1-2 with 2 outs. Gonzalez stares down the base runner. He'll throw over. McGregor wasn't too far off the bag. Gonzalez just wants to keep him honest. He'll stare back in at Carpellotti and get his sign. The 1-2 pitch, a changeup that's pulled foul third base side. Got Heyman out in front.
Heyman, somebody who could make a big difference towards the tail end of the season for Falmouth, a UF and all SEC freshman team selection in the spring. He was sensational.
The 1-2 is high and outside. Gonzalez, who had 4 strikeouts through 2, having some trouble putting away Falmouth batters the second time around. The 2-2 pitch, Heyman foul tip into the mid of Carpellotti. Strikeout number 5 for Gonzalez. He allows 1 run here in the third on a solo shot by Walker Yannick, but that is all. 1 runner left on. 1 hit for Falmouth, 1 run. They lead 2-1 as we go to the fourth. Back here in Falmouth, top of the fourth between the Firebirds and the Commodores, who lead 2-1 over Orleans. Eddie King Jr., the first batter here in the fourth against Jacob Smith, the lefty starting pitcher for Falmouth. Smith's 60th pitch is popped up into the shallow left field. Bazana calls for it, and he'll make the catch about 3 steps into the outfield. King retired for the first time tonight. And up comes Fenwick Trimble, the righty out of James Madison, who's 0 for his last 9. Trimble has brought a lot to this team defensively, as have a lot of the other outfielders on this team. It's just whose bat gets the most hot at the end of the season. Trimble takes the ball high.
That big curve clocking in at 67 miles an hour. I think that's the slowest Smith has pumped it out tonight. But don't bite at it.
1-0. Smith set at the belt. The pitch to Trimble is fouled in the box. 1-1.
You know, for Trimble, he's got the power to become a big power bat in the middle of his lineup with double-digit doubles, homers, tons of RBIs during his sophomore season at James Madison. This summer, it's been a little up and down.
2 homers on the year for Trimble here in the summer. The 1-1 is high and outside from Smith, who came into this inning at 59 pitches. We'll see how long he will go for a Falmouth team that also has the day off tomorrow. An 8-3 win against Brewster yesterday. 19 wins, 16 losses, and 2 ties. The 2-1 at the bottom of the zone for a strike. Heyman brought it up really well and framed it good enough for Joseph Labella, the home plate umpire, to call it a strike. 2-2, 1 out, nobody on. 2-1, Falmouth leads over Orleans. Smith with a deep breath. The 2-2 line drive into right field and down for a base hit. A 1-out single for Fenwick Trimble here in the 4th.
That breaks a big skid for Fenwick. It only takes one for these guys who know they have so much talent, so much power in the bat. That line drive to right, 93 miles an hour off the bat of Trimble. Only takes one for him to get back in the swing of things and reestablish himself in the outfield.
Forget 0 for 9. Trimble now looking at 1 for 1. Carpellotti comes up with a 1 out and 1 on. Takes a strike from Smith. 3rd hit of the day for the Firebirds is off the bat of Trimble, who stands on first. Takes a 2-step lead. McGregor holding him on, and Smith staring him down, the lefty. The 0-1 to Carpellotti, blocked in the dirt by Heyman. They're going to say Smith balked. A conversation between Heyman and Smith and the umpire, along with some coaches in the Falmouth dugout who didn't like the call. They said that Smith did not stop and get set. Now, as a pitcher, you can look around, move around, but once you come set with your glove at your belt for Smith, and now Labella saying that's it from the Falmouth dugout, as they try to get an explanation, you have to come set for at least a second and not move, and then deal your pitch. Smith did not do that, and Trimble now stands at second. 1 out, Carpellotti. Pitch is reverse, and now it's still 0-1. Basically a no pitch. The 0-1 is low, gets away from Heyman, and Trimble's going to take third. A pass ball from Luke Heyman as he couldn't get his glove down. Trimble heads over to third with 1 out.
What an odd sequence and an unfortunate one for Smith. You know, a balk is a balk. It is what it is. You move on, but it's a pause in the action when you're so into a rhythm on the mound. Having to throw a costly pitch. Trimble 90 feet away.
Falmouth moves their infield in. Up 2-1 here in the 4th. The 1-1 foul tip into the mid of Heyman off the bat of Carpellotti. Had a walk-off sac fly a few nights ago. Another fly ball in the outfield would get the job done here. Down 1-2 in the count to Smith, who needs a strikeout. A long pause, the 1-2 pitch, just a bit high to Carpellotti.
Those are the kinds of pitches I think Carpellotti would be much more keen to swinging at early on in the year, and that's why he's still fighting.
The second part of the season for Carp has been really good. July has treated him well. The 2-2 is low. It doesn't get away from Heyman enough for Trimble to come home. Counts full with 1 out. 2-1 the score in favor of Falmouth. Trimble started this rally with a single with 1 out. Moved to second on a balk by Smith and moved to third on a pass ball by Heyman. Full count to Carpellotti with 1 out. The pitch to Carp is popped up foul off the netting, right in front of us.
We've always got an interesting vantage point tonight, just off the left side of home plate, field level.
Gorgeous view. Carpellotti, count 3-2. We'll do it again. Smith kicks and fires high and inside. Carpellotti walks. Another great at-bat for the catcher out of Georgetown. It'll put runners on the corners for Orleans with 1 out and Colin Tuff coming to bat.
You can't dance around the strike zone if you're Smith. After that unfortunate sequence, potentially we'll see how Smith reacts here to a mound visit from longtime pitching coach Mike Landry as he makes his way to the bump for the first time tonight.
Landry to the mound. It's not Jeff Trundy, just a reset here on the mound. And funny enough, Jacob Smith, we talked about how many schools he's been to, 4 universities. And he says Mike Landry, he's one of the best coaches I've ever had in his baseball career. He's learned a lot from him, and he's only been here for not the whole season. This is only his 4th appearance for Falmouth.
That's big praise. Again, for somebody who's been coached by so many different pitching coaches over his career. But Landry is a seasoned veteran here in Falmouth. It's his 12th year with the Doors. He's coached at a long time. I mean, he played 7 years of minor league baseball, worked with the White Sox, indie ball, graduate of Georgetown. Owen Carpellotti on first. Go Hoyas. He's been here for over a decade. Jeff Trundy's been here for over 2. He's got a veteran group of assistants, and good for Smith to get a lot out of his time here this summer with Falmouth.
Colin Tuft up, bases occupied on 3rd and 1st. First pitch to Tuft is the big breaking ball for a strike. On 3rd is Trimble. On 1st is Carpellotti. McGregor holding on Carp at 1st. On 3rd, Yannick, the 3rd baseman, playing 2 steps behind the bag and the middle infield in double play depth. Smith needs one to get out of this inning. The 0-1 is a pop-up foul ball, first base side. Back goes McGregor, now back into fair territory. It drops. In comes Trimble to tie the game. Carpellotti forced down at second base, but Tuft collects an RBI on a single to tie this game at 2.
Oh, that's a wild sequence. It's been a wild inning for Falmouth, and Orleans has benefited. If Henrik Trimble doesn't score, if he doesn't move around the horn, thanks to a balk and a wild pitch, or rather a pass ball, and scores on what should have been a pop-up and a right, Colin Tuft reaches and is awarded an RBI for the 2nd night in a row.
Tuft off first. He's going to take off on the first pitch, which is a ball. The throw, not in time. Tuft with a stolen base. He's in scoring position for Jack Penny. His 3rd at-bat. Penny with a home run that went 400 feet to right center field in his last made up with Jacob Smith in the 3rd frame.
Tuft, his 4th run driven in, or rather, his 4th stolen base of the summer.
The 1-0 is a strike, clocking in at 68 miles per hour. Tuft had a stolen base last night, moved over to 3rd, and eventually came around to score. He's bringing a lot of speed to this Firebirds team. Smith is 1-1 against Penny. The pitch is low, blocked up by Heyman. That'll be, like you said, the 4th stolen base for Colin Tuft. This spring at UVA, he was starting almost every game for Virginia, and only had 5 stolen bases. He's 1 away from matching that here this summer.
A catcher and an outfielder who takes risks on the base paths and comes up big for a team that's 2nd to last in the league in stolen bases.
He's on 2nd. The 2-1 is high to Penny. 3-1. Smith has not been able to find the strike zone very often. Pitch count is climbing in the high 70s. 3-1 against Penny with 2 outs A 2-2 game. Colin Tuft on second. The 3-1 in the zone for a strike with the fastball.
For a Falmouth team that's won 5 of its last 6, the one thing that's kind of hurt them as of late has been the pitching. And I know Smith's been really good, but it's a team overall in ERA 7th in the league. If they want to make a deep run, they could clinch a playoff spot tonight. They need to shore it up.
Smith and Penny. The 3-2 pitch. Penny swing and a miss. Smith with a strikeout to get out of the 4th, but not before allowing another run. An RBI single by Colin Tuft drives in Fenwick Trimble to tie this game at 2. We'll go to the bottom of the frame. Tie game here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Here in the bottom of the 4th of a tie game, 2-2, we go back and forth between the Firebirds and the Commodores. Kevin Turley, 0 for 1 today, is the first batter here in the 4th against Jonathan Gonzalez, the lefty out of Stetson. Gonzalez kicks and deals the first pitch, a fastball for a strike on the inside corner. Turley out of Oregon State. Teammates with Travis Bazzana. As Gonzalez fires low, 2-0 to the righty.
These two are going to drive the bus for Falmouth.
Strike called.
They want to go anywhere deep in the postseason. Bring this town maybe its first championship since 1980 if both of their bats can get hot.
The 1-2 is fouled at the plate. Said it was 2-0. Set the scene for you here. We have no game live tonight, live stats, along with the scoreboard operator that has been operating at probably an 85% success rate.
Even in a Cape Cod League, where everyone wants to make it out as sunshine and rainbows, adversity is being dealt with.
How dare we have to keep our live stats. The 1-2 is pulled foul, third base side.
Turley's just been hitting the ball hard. And he had 14 home runs in the spring with Oregon State. Hit a baseball last night, 106 off the bat. We thought Fenwick Trimble's hit last inning, 93 miles an hour, was hard.
1-2's outside.
But a big reason why he's been doing so well as of late has been less about the swinging and more about what he's not swinging at. At bats like this against Jonathan Gonzalez.
Gonzalez gets the sign. The 2-2 just outside. The changeup low's working for Gonzalez, but the changeup outside to righties, he's not getting the swing and miss on the outside corner. A little bit off just yet. Counts full with nobody out. 3-2. Inside fastball, cold, strike 3. The strikeouts continue for Gonzalez, number 6 on the night, and the first out here in the 4th.
A season high for Gonzalez. It was 4 headed into the night. Did that in a 10-1 win against YD in 3 innings of relief last month.
Up comes Nathan Humphreys, who swings through a changeup with 1 out and the bases empty of a 2-2 game in the bottom of the 4th. Gonzalez steps and deals. A change-up that Humphreys swings at in the dirt. 0-2. Gonzalez had 2 parts to his Stetson college season this spring as well. The 0-2, a fastball that's just a little bit low. He started out at Stetson as a starter this season, his junior year, then went into the bullpen in the second half and really turned it on. 1-2, did Humphrey chase? He did not, he checked his swing. In his last 26 and a third innings at Stetson, 3 earned runs with 42 strikeouts of 79 batters. Video game numbers, the 2-2's outside, counts full.
If you put up numbers, Stetson, a program known for good pitching, they'll find you.
The 3-2 is low, and Humphreys has a really good at-bat from 0-2 to a walk with 1 out in the 4th.
3 passes in back-to-back innings. Handed out by Gonzalez. But still seems to be in control. You know, it's a well-rested bullpen tonight for Orleans. A lot of good names have the opportunity to show their stuff. Gonzalez trying to prove he can get through this inning.
On first is Humphreys. A first pitch fastball fired for a strike to Caleb Hall. His 3rd game with Falmouth. Struck out one of the 6 for Gonzalez in the 2nd. Takes the ball outside. Carpellotti jumps to keep it in front of him. A 1-out walk puts Humphreys on first with 1 out of a tie game, 2-2, bottom 4. Gonzalez checks over on the runner. A 2-2 game, but a lot more runners, and it seems like both teams should probably have more runs.
I agree.
Gonzalez checks on Humphreys once more.
I mean, you've had a team in Falmouth that's left the base runner stranded the last couple innings. Hits galore, a couple big hits, but the base path's kind of clear.
2 homers in this game, and Caleb Hall looked to pull that one for a home run, but the changeup by Gonzalez got him out in front, 1-2. Humphreys with a big lead over at first. 1-2 the count with 1 out. Gonzalez will check on him once more. Gets back with plenty of time. As Hall back, toss it back to Gonzalez. Puts his left foot on the rubber. Fires the 1-2, and Hall Gus gets a piece. Fouls it away, first base side. Hall, the rising sophomore, North Greenville University, home of another Cape Cod Baseball League pitcher that the Firebirds have faced. 1-2 is a little bit high. Matthew Taubensee out of Bourne. Firebirds saw him twice this summer. Won't be facing the Braves again unless they face off in the championship. 2-2 to Hall as the runner's going. Pitches high, the throw down, the tag is in time. Humphreys is caught stealing. Carpellotti to Farrow. They link up for out number 2.
Humphreys has good speed, but that is a tough sequence for Falmouth. The most efficient team in the league at swiping bags, too.
Full count pitch. Good wood on it, but shallow center field. Farrow goes out. King comes in. Who's going to get it? Eddie King does for out number 3. A 1-out walk to Nathan Humphreys, but he's caught stealing. Gonzalez gets through the 4th. Scoreless. We'll go to the 5th, still 2-2, and my man Ian Nicholas taking over as we come back.
Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the top of the fifth. Thanks so much for joining us from Guv Fuller Field in Falmouth, where the Commodores and the Firebirds knotted up at 5. Jacob Smith on the mound for his fifth inning of work. He faces 2, 3, and 4 in Orleans' order. Drew Farreau, first pitch swinging off the hands was the pitch and into the glove of Travis Bazzana at short. Farreau on one pitch pops out and is now 0 for 3 on the night with a couple flyouts and that pop out to Bazzana. 1 away, bases empty, still tied at 2, top 5.
A frustrating result for Farreau. That's 3 times he's hit the ball pretty hard and 3 times where it's gotten to the glove of the Falmouth defense.
Here's the lefty, Eddie Micheletti, to face the left-handed pitcher, and Smith, who delivers a strike, 0-1. The fastball in at 88. Micheletti also 0 for 2, a frustrating start to the night with his strikeout and a line out to Bazzana. The 0-1 misses upstairs for ball 1. Orleans in the black jerseys tonight, the vests, with the white lettering, the red trim, and the red undershirts with the white pants. Smith kicks the 1-1 pitch in, the breaking ball. Misses low of the zone. Really goes off speed with that, offering at 68 miles an hour for ball 2. Micheletti ahead 2-1. Smith deals. Cracked through the 4-3 hole. No, it gets through, and Smith steps on the bag for the out. Well played by first baseman Tyler McGregor, who ranged to his right, picked it up in the dirt, flipped it over to the pitcher Smith, covering the bag. Micheletti retired in 2 outs very quickly here in the top of the 5th inning.
Good contact by Micheletti to get it over to first.
Kelly Nicholson, the 18th year manager of the Firebirds, heads over to the home plate umpire and Joe LaBella, signaling for some kind of substitution. We don't know what it is just yet because Matt Hallback, who is due up, comes up to the plate, and the man on deck, Brandon Stallman, still very much Brandon Stallman.
Possibly could have been about to play at first. Maybe he wanted to check.
Micheletti did not beat it out, according to the first base umpire, Drew Hoagland. Matt Hallback hit by the first pitch he sees. It's another game in which Matt Hallback is plunked for the 9th time this season. The All-Star takes a free bag after wearing a pitch. With 2 away here in the top of the 5th, still tied at 2, and the go-ahead run on first. Hallback just smiling with first base coach Jay Banfield. He can't believe it. And neither can Falmouth 25th year manager Jeff Trundy. Trundy, not a fan of a call, and now all the officials, LaBella, Hoagland, and third base umpire David Gabor, meeting in the infield. Dylan, what did you see?
I saw a pitch that clipped Hallback, but this has happened time and time again. It's really hard for hit-by pitches to be overturned.
The officials break up that meeting very quickly, and like you said, it's unlikely that the call is overturned. It is not. Hallback still on first. He reaches for the 2nd time in a row. Singled in the 3rd, plunked here in the 5th. Now Brandon Stallman trying to reach for the 2nd time. Walked in the 2nd, grounded out in the 3rd. Another lefty to face the left-handed Smith, who misses low, 1-0, to the rising senior from UNC Charlotte, originally by way of St. Louis, Missouri. Hallback punch for the 2nd night in a row, too.
And 9 overall. Make that. He is now in sole possession of 2nd place in the league in hit by pitches.
Smith misses low at 81 miles an hour, blocked up by Heyman, who's tried his best tonight behind the dish. A lot of pitches in the dirt from Smith. One pass ball, which cost his team a run as Fenwick Trimble came around the score after moving a 3rd on a pass ball from Heyman. Runner on first, 2 out, 2 balls, no strikes. Here's the pitch. Miss upstairs with the fastball, 3-0. Ahead in the count is Stallman, where he's been for much of his week and a half with the team. Takes a practice hack and waves the wand over his left shoulder. 3-1 on the way. Low, and it gets through the legs of Heyman, right underneath him. Hallback trots to 2nd. Stallman the 1st. 2nd walk of the game for the Missouri native. trouble of brewing after 2 quick outs, 2 base runners on.
That's the second time that Stallman has also walked on 4 pitches.
Pitching coach Mike Landry, after the free pass handed out by Smith, makes his way to the mound for the second time tonight, and it could be curtains for Jacob Smith. 4 2/3 innings pitched. This game tied at 2 between Falmouth and Orleans in the top of the 5th inning. The conversation still going on between one of the more recent additions of his pitching staff and Jacob Smith and the 12th-year pitching coach of the Commodores and Landry. Home plate umpire Joe LaBella made his way out towards the mound, but Landry's conversation ends before he can make his way to the bump. Smith sitting at 90 pitches on the night. He's had an up and down night in terms of throwing strikes, 52%, and Delaney's going to stay out there facing Eddie King, the center fielder, with 2 on and 2 out.
Falmouth, a team that hasn't had an off day in a while. They need their starting pitcher to continue on and keep on going. They're going to go to their man, lefty, against Eddie King.
Eddie King, 0 for 1 tonight with a pop out in the 4th to the shortstop Pizzana. He walked in the 2nd. 2 runners on, 2 out. The lefty deals to the righty. First pitch swinging to center field, down for a hit. Matt Holback gets the sign. Throw on the way home, and Holback retreats for third. He slides into the bag. A really good throw from the center fielder in Humphreys. And Holback decided after taking off from third to retreat and instead load the bases as Eddie King singles with 2 outs. And here's Fenwick Trimble. And after that, pitch number 91 from Smith, potentially 1 pitch too many. Mike Landry, who makes all the mound visits for Falmouth, makes 1 final mound visit, his 3rd for Smith, and takes the ball from the left-handed hurler. It's tied at 2, but Orleans has made noise. A hit by pitch, a walk, and a single have loaded the bases for the Birds with 2 away. Falmouth looking for 1 out of Fenwick Trimble, trying to keep it tied in the top of the 5th. You'll find out if it stays that way when we come back on the Birds Broadcast Network. Thank you. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network, still on the top of the 5th. Thanks so much for joining us. Ian Nicholas still at Pescatore on the call. Bases loaded. Jacob Smith leaves the ball game. Coming in to replace him on the mound for Falmouth is a righty from Georgia Tech, Ben King. Hallback on 3rd. Stallman on 2nd. King on 1st. The batter is Fenwick Trimble. And a righty on righty battle takes a pitch for a strike on the outer half of the plate, clocking in at 79, 0-1. Smith gives up a single to Eddie King to center field, which loaded the bases. The 0-1. Swung through and missed. Trimble down 0-2. Couple of sub-80-mile-an-hour offerings from King put Trimble, who's 1 for 2 on the night with a hard hit single to right his last time up in the 4th, behind an account. Tied at 2, top 5. King's 0-2 pitch. Popped up foul to right. Hallback on third. He was hit by a pitch. Stallman on second. He walked in 4 pitches. And with 91 pitches on the night, Jacob Smith gave up a single to center field from Eddie King, who stays hot for Orleans. Bases juiced. 2 out. No balls, 2 strikes. The score tied at 2 in the top of the 5th from Falmouth. The 0-2. Inside at the knees of Trimble for a ball. 1-2.
Inch away from hitting Trimble. Would have forced in a run.
The fastball dialed up to 88 from Ben King, who just finished up his redshirt sophomore season with the Yellow Jackets. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Trimble goes down in 4 pitches, facing the new arm in King. Orleans strands the bases loaded after a hit by pitch, a walk, and a single. Load the bases against Jacob Smith. King gets his starting pitcher out of trouble, keeps it tied at 2 after 4.5 from Guv Fuller Field. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Jonathan Gonzalez done in 4 innings, rather. His second start of the summer complete. The new pitcher on the mound for the Firebirds is Connor Eaton. Just finished up his redshirt freshman season at George Mason. The left-handed hurler faces a Falmouth lineup, 9-1-2, starting with Sean Darnell, the second baseman. Lefty on lefty, first pitch swinging. Pops one to the backstop. 0-1. Connor Eaton, sensational in his last appearance. 5 innings out of a bullpen, picked up the win against Bourne on the road on the 19th of the month. 5 innings, a 1-run ball. His 0-1 pitch, in for a strike. Another fastball, and Eaton, the Virginia native, gets ahead 0-2 against Darnell, who struck out swinging against Gonzalez in the second inning. The 0-2 offering. Fair down the left field side. Eaton stumbles, throws to first, not in time. Eaton got off the mound, had the ball in his glove, lost it on the transfer, then lost his footing in the infield grass, threw it to first anyway, haul back, caught it well away from the first base bag. Reaching is the bottom man of the order, Darnell.
A weird play, a wet infield as well here in Falmouth, so not easy for Eaton to dig his cleats into the ground. An infield single for Darnell.
That's what it goes down on. Scoreboard and left, that's what it says. Back to the top of the order with Barry Walsh, the right fielder. Fouls the first pitch he sees away, 0-1. Wearing the bright yellow batting gloves, representing his school of Boston College. The beige and dirtied arm sleeve cut off at the wrist on his right arm. 1 on, nobody out, tied at 2 in the bottom of the 5th. Eaton fires away. It's another foul ball over the netting. 0-2 as Eaton goes off speed at 82 miles an hour.
And we talk about Connor Eaton. He's also had 2 different types of seasons. The start of the season where he was really good, pitching scoreless frames in 4 of his first 5 outings. Had 2 or 3 tough outings in there, but ever since he's been back on the horse.
His pitch inside, not for another strike. 1-2 with the fastball. Now in the count, still behind is Walsh. Eaton trying to be that pitcher that he was against Bourne, where nobody expected him to go 5. Nobody really except Kelly Nicholson. The 1-2 pitch misses low and in, evens the count 2-2. Eaton didn't think he was pitching the 9th inning of that game in the win against the Braves, but Kelly Nicholson said, no, this is your game. You're getting back out there. Eaton did. Shut down the Bravos. Orleans picked up the win. 1 on, nobody out. The 2-2 is a launch to right, and coming up to make the snag, Fenwick Trimble. A line out on a hard hit ball from Barry Walsh. 89 miles an hour off the bat, pulls it the other way, and lines out for out number 1 of Connor Eaton's outing.
Sometimes you get lucky. The Firebirds have not been lucky from the offensive side tonight. Well, they get lucky on the defensive side as that line drive went right at Trimble.
So it stays tied at 2. Runner on first, Sean Darnell, who reached on the infield single. Miss upstairs to the star, the all-star, shortstop Travis Bizana. 1 for 2 tonight. He singled in the first against Jonathan Gonzalez, who pitched 4 innings, a 2-run ball with 6 Ks. The 1-0 also upstairs with the fastball. 2 balls, no strikes to the Australian. Originally from Sydney. Hit for the cycle against Orleans in his last game against the Birds in the middle of the month from Eldridge Park. A 3rd straight miss upstairs with the fastball from Eaton. He falls behind 3-0. Bizana sits in a left-handed batter's box. The orange and gray batting gloves for his school of Oregon State. The all-white look tonight for Falmouth with the maroon lettering. The 3-0 in the upper 3rd for strike 1. Eaton still behind 3-1. Darnell on first after his single. 1 away in a tied game at 2 apiece in the bottom of the 9th. Eaton the 3-1. Misses inside for ball 4. A 5-pitch walk with 1 out. Bizana reaches for the 2nd time tonight.
That's where Ian has found his trouble. Walks. He hasn't had a walk in the last 5 outings. Before the Bourne outing, he had 1 in 5 innings, and now 1 already here against the top of the order in Falmouth.
Now he faces somebody who, in the heart of this order, has been tough to get out tonight. Walker Yannick, a single and a solo shot on the game, and makes him 2 for 2. Takes a first pitch strike against Eaton, pumping in the fastball at 92 miles an hour to get ahead 0-1. Runners on first and second with 1 out. The go-ahead run, Sean Darnell on second base in a tied game at 2. Eaton's 0-1 on the way. Swung on, popped up, right near home plate. Matt Hallback charges towards it, and nobody catches it. It ricochets off the mound. But infield fly is in effect. And a runner in between first and second who didn't realize there was infield fly, and that's a double play. Travis Bizana now wants to know what happened from first base umpire Drew Hoagland But the explanation is just going to end the inning. An unbelievable sequence. Infield fly was in effect on that pop-up from Walker Yannick. The ball landed off the right side of the mound. Not realizing it was Travis Pizzana, who got caught in between first and second and eventually just got tagged out by Matt Hallback. It's a double play that ends the inning. Falmouth furious, barking with home plate umpire Joe LaBella. It stays tied at 2. After 5, we go to the top of the 6th on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. The game is currently tied 2-2 heading to the top of the 6th. Now the emphasis right now in the dugout is all about waiting for your pitch in the batter's box. Falmouth has had strong pitching all game long, but the Firebirds also have some pretty talented hitters, so if they are patient and take the ball they want, then good things will happen. The moment they are playing defensive baseball in the box, that's when things go sideways. They have to be the aggressive ones taking control in order to pass the baton that they always talk about. The Birds want to continue that offensive power into the off day tomorrow, as well as an important doubleheader on Friday against their East Division rivals, the Chatham Anglers. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Sammy. Back to baseball on the top of the 6th from Guv Fuller Field. Playoff baseball soon to be played, most likely for both of these teams. Falmouth could clinch a playoff spot tonight with a win and a Wareham loss against Harwich. Meanwhile, Orleans can't clinch a playoff spot tonight, but a win and a Chatham loss tomorrow. Chatham plays on the off day. Ben King on the mound for his second inning of work. The righty faces the left-handed catcher Owen Carpellotti, who takes a strike, 0-1. Dylan, a really wild ending the last inning for Falmouth, and they're frustrated.
They are, but it was the right call. It was first and second with 1 out, a pop-up in the infield.
Carpellotti pops this one up in the foul territory along the left side of the field, circling it, coming back on the line and making a catch, lunging to scoop it. Walker Yannick, who had the infield pop-up last half inning, he retires Owen Carpellotti 1 away here at the top of the 6th.
So a pop-up with 1 out on the infield, and no Firebird got it. It was between Hallback and Stallman, the first and third baseman. It dropped. It was infield fly rule in effect, so the batter was already out because that's the situation. And then Bazzano was already going to second base because he saw it drop but didn't know it was the infield fly. And Hallback tagged out Bazzano because he wasn't back to first base in time.
That's how the 5th inning ended for Falmouth. Tied at 2 in the top of the 6th. Colin Tuft, the left fielder, goes by an 0-1 in a count in this righty-on-righty contest with Ben King. He deals, gets a swing and a miss. His 81-mile-an-hour pitch goes low and away. Tuft struck out in the 2nd, drove in a run with a single in the 4th, a blooper down the right field line. He's driven in a run in each of the last 2 nights. On the 0-2, he takes strike 3 looking. That is the 2nd strikeout for Ben King and only his 3rd out of the game since coming in relief of Jacob Smith last half inning.
A good sweeping slider to get Tuft. And King, after some frustration by Falmouth in the bottom of the 5th, they come back here in the 6th and they get 2 quick outs.
Back to the top of the order with the left-handed Jack Penny, who takes a ball on a pitch outside, 1-0. Bases cleared, 2 out. Tied at 2, top of the 6th. King, off the heels of a really good redshirt junior season with Georgia Tech. He gets the whiff from Penny. 1-1 in a count. A 3.73 ERA after missing the entirety of the 2022 season. 6-2 record, 25 appearances. The 1-1 is launched the other way to left and down along the line for a hit. Jack Penny, his 2nd knock of the night, as he rounds the corner, thinks about 2nd, and retreats to 1st. 5th hit of the night for Orleans, the 2nd off the bat of the Wakefield, Massachusetts native.
First time at leadoff, not a bad job by Jack Penny. Now reaching for the 3rd time out of 4 at-bats tonight. Really good job by Jack. Goes the other way, gets it down the left field line, keeps it in fair territory, and takes his single.
Drew Farrell looking for his first hit of the night. He's 0 for 3. 0 for 3. The switch hitter batting lefty against the right-handed King whiffs at an 80-mile-an-hour pitch and goes behind 0-1. Penny off first. Checking in on him with a pickoff attempt is King. A high throw snagged after a leap by McGregor. Penny 0 for 3, stealing bases this summer. No balls and a strike. Here's the pitch. Low and in to Farrell. 1-1.
First time Farrell's batting from the left side tonight as well.
His first 3 at-bats against the the left-handed Jacob Smith, who's done after 4 2/3. Miss up and away. 2-1. Farrell gets back ahead. Couple of loud outs on the game. 2 flyouts to left field and a pop out to the shortstop, Travis Pizzana. The 2-1. Also off the outer edge of a plate. 3-1. King in danger of letting back-to-back base runners reach with 2 outs as the Birds trying to take the lead for the first time today. Low and in. Drew Farrell, good at bat. He takes the 3-1 pitch for a ball. Ball 4. A 2-out walk after a 2-out single from Jack Penny. Orleans has first and second with Eddie Micheletti up at the plate.
The Firebirds have gotten a few hits with runners on, but not enough tonight. They need one right here. They've left a few runners on base. Make that 7 to be exact. Check that 8.
Including last inning when they stranded the bases loaded. Eddie Micheletti, first pitch swinging, launches one to left and foul. The left-handed bat faces the right-handed King and goes behind 0-1. Micheletti 0 for 3 tonight with a strikeout, a line out, and a ground out. Penny off second, Farrell off first. The pitch. This is low. 1-1. 6'1", 205-pound Micheletti by way of Wilmington, Delaware, just outside of Philadelphia. The 1-1 is hit to right center field, and that is down off the wall for a hit. Jack Penny scores. Drew Farrell around third. Throw cut off at second and not thrown home. Farrell touches home plate. Eddie Micheletti helps Orleans take the lead 4-2 with a 2-run double.
Talk about a 2-out rally. Carpellotti and Tuff go down. The offense doesn't go down as a whole. Penny with a single. Farrell with a walk, and then a smoked double right to center off the wall by Micheletti. That was hit really hard. 100 off the bat. A big hit for the Firebirds when they needed one.
376 feet. Does not go out here from Falmouth. Micheletti on second. Matt Hallback at the plate. The righty checks his swing, but went around. 0-1. Orleans, its first lead of the game. All 4 of its runs scored in the last 4 innings. Bouncing back after stranding the bases loaded in a scoreless 5th frame with a 2-run double from Micheletti. The 0-1 also a swing and miss from Hallback, who goes behind 0-2.
RBIs number 15 and 16 for Micheletti on that 2 RBI double.
It's one deep into the gap in right center field. Nathan Humphreys couldn't get it. Foul ball chopped down the first base side. It lands in the dugout, rather the third base side. Lands in the Orleans dugout. Chucked around. All smiles for this crew after taking the lead. Trying to get back up and over 500. Sitting at 18-18 on the summer. 1 on, 2 out, no balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Blocked up. Missing the dirt from King for ball 1.
Micheletti with that double now takes the lead on the Firebirds in terms of RBI.
Micheletti, who's just been so consistent all summer long, comes up in a big spot. 6th hit of the night for Orleans. The 1-2, also in the dirt, blocked up by Heyman. Ball 2. Hallbacks work the count even.
I would not want to be the man doing Luke Heyman's laundry tonight. He's been blocking balls all night long. Started with Jacob Smith and now Ben King.
Heyman, as a freshman in Florida, fantastic behind the dish. The 2-2, swung on and missed. Hallback strikes out. It's strikeout number 3 for Ben King. Orleans not thinking about that result, though. They're thinking about the result of Eddie Micheletti. A 2-run double, blistered to right field. Off the wall, it scores 2 runs, and Orleans gets ahead 4-2. We go to the bottom of the 6th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 6th on the Birds Broadcast Network. A beautiful night from Guv Fuller Field. And a beautiful result and a top of the inning from Orleans. A 2-run double for Eddie Micheletti Jr. puts the Birds up 4-2. Connor Eaton on the mound. They face 4, 5, and 6. It starts with Tyler McGregor. Lefty on lefty, Eaton deals. Strike on the upper third, 0-1. A new co-pilot for me, just for a few moments, it would seem. Our producer, Will Lundrigan, putting on the headset for the first time all summer. Or at least putting on a headset that you can hear him through. The 0-1 from Eaton. Misses low, 1-1. Will, how does it feel? You've been waiting for this.
I have, and so it's an honor. I mean, I know it's brief, Dylan making the quick run to the bathroom, but I'll take what I can get.
Eaton's 1-1. Misses outside, 2-1. McGregor, 0 for 1 tonight, struck out in the first, walked in the third. You played baseball back in the day.
I did. I'd like to think of myself as a lot better than I actually was, though.
The 2-1 pitch. Fouled off, and you could hear it. Our crowd mic right behind the backstop. Didn't get hit. Safe behind the netting. 2-2. McGregor shrugs his shoulders and waits for 2-2. Chopped to haul back at first. He dashes towards the bag, puts his right foot on first, and retires McGregor for the second time today.
Right there, Orleans was shifting. We had 3 guys on the right side of the infield, something we've seen more as of late from Kelly Nicholson, something we didn't see a lot early in the season.
Spray charts becoming more and more proof, showing Kelly Nicholson what he needs to see. And right there against McGregor, it works. He hits it towards the right side of the infield. Now it's Luke Heyman, the catcher, who fouls off the first pitch behind the plate. 0-1. Nobody on, 1 out. 4-2 Birds, bottom of the 6th. Orleans took its first lead of the game off a 2-run double from Eddie Micheletti in the top of the inning. The 0-1 pitch, high, for ball 1. 91 miles an hour from Connor Eaton, who's got great stuff, Will, and really showed it in his last appearance against Bourne.
Yeah, that was a really impressive outing, the 5 innings, something I was not expecting out of him.
A low miss, 2-1. Eaton did start during his redshirt freshman season with George Mason, an NCAA tournament team at just over a 6 ERA for the Patriots. The 2-1 pitch, also low of his own for ball 3. Heyman ahead 3-1.
It seems like Kelly Nicholson is starting to stretch out some of his relievers, especially those who were starters when at their colleges.
Bases empty, 1 out. The 3-1 pitch. A strike. Heyman thought he was walking. Just clips the top of the zone for strike 2. That's smart of Kelly Nicholson considering how much turnover there's been in the starting rotation this summer. Full count pitch on the way home. Low miss for ball 4. Good at bat from the 5th man of the order, Luke Heyman. He reaches on the 2nd time today, and for the first time since he drove in the first run of the ball game with a single in the first. Here's Gavin Turley, the left fielder from Oregon State, still wearing his black OSU helmet with the white OSU lettering, right smack dab down the middle. Another righty to face the lefty Eaton. Here's the pitch. Inside for a ball. Fastball. Doesn't get the call. 1-0.
Talking about that turnover in the rotation, we have Derek Clark, who started yesterday. He's making one final start this year before heading back to school.
Transferring schools from Division II Northwood University in Michigan. Speaking of which, Owen Carpelati, a Michigan native, a Georgetown catcher, doing the catching tonight, having a conversation on the mound with Eaton, as he's now handed out 5 balls in his last 6 pitches. Walked Luke Heyman, and now Gavin Turley ahead 1-0. Clark transferring to West Virginia for his senior season, and he has to report there rather early in August. The 1-0, check swing from Turley. Doesn't matter, he takes his strike. 1-1.
And Ian, I think my time is up. Dylan has returned.
You would be correct. Will Lundgren pushing the buttons all summer long for Orleans. Making his debut on the mic. Dylan back beside me. The 1-1. Turley swings so hard he loses the bat. It drops right behind home plate as he goes behind 1 and 2.
You know, I got to thank Will for doing the book for me when I was gone.
Yeah, no way I was going to do that. I can barely keep track of my own. Runner on first is Heyman. He walked with 1 out. Behind an account 1 and 2 is Gavin Turley. 0 for 2 on the game. The 1-2 pitch. Inside. Ball 2. Turley had a great sophomore season with Oregon State. Hit over 300. Wasn't in the starting lineup at the beginning of the season for the Beavers, but the Oregon native from Beaverton found his way into the lineup, started 50-plus games, dominated. The 2-2. Low and in for ball 3.
I'm surprised that Oregon State didn't build their campus in Beaverton. Wouldn't make sense, right?
Well, what came first, Beaverton or the Beavers?
It's a good question. Or Corvallis.
It's true. The payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Once again, Turley loses the bat. And he goes down swinging for strike 3. It's the first strikeout for Connor Eaton in his second inning of work. And Dylan, I know you haven't seen all of it. You've seen a lot of it, and it's been a lot of good.
Yes, it has. And I think that was one of the best fastballs we've seen from Eaton in the last few outings. Might have been above the zone, but he got Turley to chase. It's almost like it rises in the eyes of the hitter. And that's what he got the caught swing on right there.
Eaton deals to Caleb Hall. The DH takes his strike. This time an off-speed offering towards the upper part of his zone, just like that fastball at 91, which retired Turley. 0-1 in a count to Humphreys, who fouls a pitch away and goes behind 0-2. The center fielder does. Humphreys 0 for 1 on the day with a ground out in the second and a walk in the fourth. He was caught stealing, which cost his team in the 4th inning. Runner on first is Heyman. The 0-2 pitch. Outside at 91 with the fastball for ball 1.
That's a great job by Eaton. When I talk with Connor, he says, when I miss, I want to miss close. And that's exactly what he did right there with the fastball. He missed close. It gave Humphreys an idea that he might have wanted to swing on it.
The 1-2. Misses outside again. 2-2. Eaton has shown improvements throughout the summer. Just like a lot of guys on a Firebirds team, it sits second in the East Division. 1 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes on the way. Popped up and out of play towards left. The fastball spoiled. Eaton originally from Disputana, Virginia, which is about 2 hours south of where he plays his collegiate ball of George Mason. It's a small town, under 400 people. Eaton checks in on the base runner Heyman, the Florida catcher. Not a ton of speed. 0 for 1. Stolen base attempts so far this summer. 2 outs, not likely he takes off. The 2-2 pitch popped up again, and once again out of play. The count stays even. Eaton not heavily recruited out of high school in terms of guys here on the Cape Cod Baseball League, recruited by programs like Charleston, Old Dominion, Radford, VMI, and Winthrop. The 2-2. This is up and in for ball 3. Wasn't even a top 150 player in his own state, according to Perfect Game, coming out of the state of Virginia. But here on the Cape, he's shown, as you mentioned, a fastball with life and off-speed pitches that can make him a complete player. The 3-2 misses high from Connor Eaton, who hands out his second walk of the inning. Again, it was a close miss, Dylan. Like you said, doesn't get the call. 2-out walk, puts the second base runner on for Falmouth.
A really close miss at that. Could have went either way. But now 2 walks. This is the shutdown inning. After your offense puts up 2 runs for you in the top of the frame, Eaton looking to put up the 0, but it won't be easy.
Tying run on first for Caleb Hall, the DH, who's 0 for 2. With 2 outs. Here's a pitch. Pop up on the first pitch. He sees it's foul. And out of play behind the plate and to the parking lot from Guv Fuller Field. A good crowd. 75 degrees and sunny. A windy day. The wind whipping from right to left. Runners on first and second, 2 out. 4-2 Orleans here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The 0-1. Breaking ball misses high and evens the count to Hall.
Eaton's job is to get through this inning and hand it off to the next pitcher. How can he get through it? Fire the fastball high. Try to get a ground ball with the slider.
The 1-1 pitch. Low and in at the knees of a right-handed Hall for ball 2. Hall trying to stay hot after a fantastic start to the summer in the South Florida Collegiate League, where he was hitting .446 to go along with an OPS of above 1,100. 2 runners on, 2 out. The 2-1 pitch is cranked off the mound and into the outfield for a hit. On his way home is Luke Heyman. Sliding into third safely is Humphreys. It's a run-scoring double to bring Falmouth within 1 for Caleb Hall. Orleans still up 4-3.
Walks cost you. And that's what happened right there. The Firebirds, 2 walks, puts runners on in scoring position. And it just takes a hit, and that's what Caleb Hall did. A single, and then King throws to third. Hall moves up to second on the throw.
Gets the extra base, but like you said, it goes down as an RBI single in the book. Eddie King, the center fielder, threw towards Brandon Stallman at third and could not get the out of Humphreys, who slides in safe. Runners on second and third with 2 out for Sean Darnell, the lefty. Eaton's first pitch to him lands for his strike up in the zone, 0-1. So now the tying run on third. Humphreys walked. The go-ahead run on second, represented by Hall, who just drove in a run with a single and moved to second on the throw from Eddie King in center. The 0-1, also high in the zone for a strike with the fastball. Eaton rebounding, trying to keep the lead. Not a shutdown inning, but still a chance to keep Orleans in front in the bottom of the 6th, 4-3. Both teams with 6 hits on the night. The latest scoring a run for Falmouth. Eaton's 0-2. Misses outside. 1-2.
I think at times Eaton, who is consistently getting ahead of hitters, at times can be a little bit picky. Going in the outside corner and trying to get some whiffs out of the zone by Falmouth. He has stuff good enough that he can throw it in the zone and get swing and misses.
Looking for one on the 1-2. On the ground, towards Farrow, it's short. Throws to first, out recorded, inning over. On a ground out from Sean Darnell, Falmouth leaves 2 base runners stranded in Nathan Humphreys and Caleb Hall. Some damage done, but Orleans still in front, even after an RBI single from Caleb Hall. Orleans up a run. We go to the top of the 7th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Top of the 7th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Orleans still in front, even after an RBI single from Caleb Hall in the bottom of the 6th against Connor Eaton. Same pitcher still on the mound. It's Georgia Tech's Ben King. For Falmouth, he faces 5, 6, and 7. It starts with the left-handed third baseman, Brandon Stallman, to face the righty King, whose first pitch gets a whiff at 83 miles an hour. Stallman 0 for 1 on the night with a ground out and a pair of walks. A combined 8 pitches on those walks. The 0-1 thrown, but before that, time was called for, rather, by first base umpire Drew Hogland. There was something in right field, which was retrieved.
A baseball from the bullpen.
The bullpen is behind a windscreen in the right field wall. You can't really see anything going on back there. The 0-1 is cranked through the hole and in the right for a hit from Brandon Stallman. It's his third on-base appearance of the night and his first hit to lead off the 7th inning. 7th hit for Orleans.
Brandon Stallman has been so good for this team and gets good wood on another pitch. Drives it into right field between first and second. And now after the Falmouth scores a run in the bottom of the 6th, Firebirds have a chance to maybe push a run across of their own. I think Eddie King might be able to lay one down here. Looking at the third baseman, Yannick. He's playing back at third. Maybe put Falmouth's defense to the test.
Stallman with a hit for his 4th night in a row. Eddie King, he singled in the 5th. He takes the strike, did not show bunt. 0-1. The righty faces the right-handed King in an ACC battle. Georgia Tech on the mound. Louisville at the plate. 4-3 Orleans top 7. King deals. Now King shows bunt, but the pitch went behind his legs and got by Heyman behind the plate. Stallman moves up in the scoring position without a bunt on a wild pitch from King.
King against King right here, like you said, Ian. And great job. Takes it inside. Firebirds get a man in scoring position. Do you still lay down the bunt? Move him over to third? Or do you let King swing?
King without his sack bunt on the year, but he's laid down a couple bunts and beaten them out for base hits because of his great speed. He doesn't show bunt. Instead, he rockets one to left, and it gets down for a hit. Brandon Stallman on his way home. King to second. He stays there after his run-scoring double. 5-3 Orleans in the top of the 7th. You do trust his bat.
What a swing from Eddie King. You heard the crack, and you knew it was going to the wall. Great job by King. 103 off the bat. Hardest hit ball tonight by the Firebirds or the Commodores. That was I'd put money on that was the hardest hit ball of the season for Eddie King.
Eddie King, these last 3 games, he's looked like a completely different player. Somebody that Orleans has needed. Multiple hits in 2 of the last 3 games. It all started with a 3-for-4 performance on Sunday and a loss to YD. Fenwick Trimble shows bunt, lays one foul down the third base side, and goes behind 0-1. King trots back to second after his RBI double. And last night, only had 1 hit, King did, in a 10-6 win to Wareham, but he smoked a 3-run home run to right field at Eldridge Park for his 2nd home run of the summer. 5-3 Orleans. Here's the pitch. Trimble showed bunt. Low with the zone was the pitch for a ball. 1-1.
And I love how the Firebirds, the bunt pays off in terms of not bunting. King smacks the double. They go right back to what they know, putting the ball in play, getting a bunt down, and hopefully Trimble can and move over to King to third.
Trimble shows the bunt, but pulls it away after a pitch misses high from King. 2-1. The Battle of the Kings. Eddie King won it. He's off second after his hard hit double to the wall in left center. Orleans has scored a run in 4 of the last 5 innings and adds on to the lead 5-3 after a run-scoring single from Falmouth in the 6th. The 2-1, Trimble shows bunt, but the ball goes over his head and goes away from Heyman to the backstop. And King has worked his way around the horn on 2 wild pitches from Ben King.
A wild pitch from King, which allowed Stallman to move up to second. Now a wild pitch from King to move King Jr., Eddie King Jr., over to third. Great job. Now Trimble can swing the bat.
Ahead in the count 3-1. A good opportunity to do so. Here's the pitch, and it pops out of a glove of Heyman, and it's a strike nonetheless. 3-2. Trimble flipped the bat, believing he thought he had a walk. Instead, he retrieves it in foul territory on the left side of the field. The infield has come in for Falmouth. Playing in the grass is Tyler McGregor, Sean Darnell, Walker Yannick, and Travis Bizzana. Eddie King at third. A full count to Trimble with nobody out. Pitch on the way. Popped up to right and to the bleachers. Count stays full.
Trimble has been putting up good at-bats all night long. A line out in the second, he hit hard. A single in the fourth, he hit really hard. And then a strikeout. He's got to get the ball in play here. Any means necessary.
The 3-2. In the dirt, blocked up by the catcher, Heyman, ball 4. Another good at-bat and a good result for Fenwick Trimble. He reaches for the second time today. Runners on the corners for Orleans. Owen Carpellotti, the left-handed catcher, to the plate. Ben King stays in there, even after a shaky start to the 7th inning. He has not recorded an out. Started with a single for Brandon Stallman. He scored on an RBI double from Eddie King. Fenwick Trimble walks. Carpellotti showed bunt, took it back, took a strike on the outer half. He falls behind 0-1.
7th walk of Falmouth pitching tonight. Firebirds are taking advantage and then some.
King checks in on the runner at first, Trimble. He slides in safe. Trimble 3 for 3 on stolen base attempts this year. Good speed on the base pass for Orleans. The 0-1 pitch. Carpellotti. Rockets won the first. Tyler McGregor throws to second for 1. The throw back to first. Gets away and heads to the camera well. Eddie King scores as Falmouth does not turn the double play. Owen Carpellotti reaches and now slides over to second after the errant throw. Orleans ups the lead 6-3 with its second run of the inning.
Eddie King made a good read. McGregor threw to second base and turned his back. King scored even if the double play was turned because there was nobody out. Carpellotti moves to second. Good hustle as no one was covering the bag and the throw was poor. Firebirds are taking advantage right now. 2 runs here in the top of the 7th.
Crooked numbers in each of the last 2 innings. It's officially an E6 on the shortstop. Oregon State's Travis Bizzana playing a little bit out of his element tonight. Usually is a second baseman. Carpellotti off second. Colin Tuft at the plate, who swings at the first pitch and whiffs at the 87-mile-an-hour offering. 0-1. Orleans trying to split the season series with Falmouth. Get back over 500 on the year. Pick up its second win away from home against the Commodores. The 0-1 from King is launched to center field and down for a hit in front of Humphreys. Carpellotti racing home. Tuft stops at first, and Carpellotti scores. 3rd run of the inning. 2nd RBI for Colin Tuft. 7-3 Orleans.
Our hard hit single by Tuft, which didn't seem like he was going to score Carpellotti, but Humphreys misplayed it in center field and allowed Carpellotti to get the windmill from Max Fesky, the third base coach. Firebirds with 3 runs here. A big inning for the Birds.
Already 1 error thrown up on the board against Travis Bizzana. A second error not up there just yet. Potentially against Nathan Humphreys after he could not make a big throw to the plate to potentially throw out Owen Carpellotti or at least keep him at 3rd. Pitchers coming out of a bullpen for Falmouth, who now trails 4 runs. You'll find out who the new arm is when we come back here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the top of the 7th. Thanks so much for joining us from Guv Fuller Field. Ben King out. New pitcher in is Dukes Cassius Thomas, the 6'2", 200-pound rising sophomore from Northridge, California. The latest damage done by Orleans off an RBI single from Colin Tuft, which scored Owen Carpellotti. 9 hits for the Birds, 5 of their 7 runs scored in the last 2 innings. Jack Penny back to the top of the order. The lefty faces a right-handed Thomas, who's had a bit of an issue throwing strikes this summer for Falmouth. A miss inside, 1-0. Runner on first is Tuft, who had that run-scoring single. Thomas on the year, only 4 1/3 innings pitched, but he has allowed 7 runs to score. Has pitched once against Orleans, too. His 1-0 offering is cracked right towards second, a double play ball. Throw to second is for 1, and Bazana flips to first for 2. 4-6-3 from Darnell to Bazana to McGregor. Grounding into the double play is Penny. Both Tuft and Penny retired. Cassius Thomas gets a big out to stop the bleeding. But Orleans has extended the lead to 4, its largest lead of the night. It's 7-3 Birds. We go to the bottom of the 7th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Orleans with a lot of runs as of late. 5 in the last 2 innings to give the bullpen some run support. A 7-3 lead for the Birds. Over the doors from Falmouth. Thanks so much for joining us. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore on the call. Dylan, Kelly Nicholson turns to the bullpen again. First it was Connor Ayton, and now it's Matthew Watson, the right-hander from Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
Yes, and Watson has been really good for this Firebirds team in 3 appearances. He's come in some big spots. 3 innings pitched, a strikeout, a walk, and a hit allowed. Perfect ERA. Watson could be a great setup guy for this Firebirds team. Here's his audition.
Faces 1-2-3. It starts with the right fielder, Barry Walsh. Righty on righty. First pitch swinging. A whiff. 0-1. Watson, the big 6'5", 220-pound right-handed hurler, heading into his redshirt junior season with the Islanders next year. 0-1 on the way. Fouled away. Quickly 0-2.
Now, Ian, yesterday we did some research on the Traverse City Pittsbitters. I'd love to know why Texas A&M Corpus Christi, which is not an island nor near one, are called the Islanders. I'll be doing my research on this.
Yeah, it seemed like a you job, and you're the one who's interested, so you go ahead. The 0-2 is chopped towards short. Jack Penny gets right by his glove. Went underneath the left-handed glove of Jack Penny. A rare defensive miscue from the all-star starter. It goes down in the books as an E6 on a Massachusetts native, and reaching to lead off the inning is Barry Walsh. He gets down for the first time tonight. That brings up the shortstop Travis Bizzana, who committed an error in the top of the inning. An inning in which Orleans scored 3 runs to extend the lead to 7-3 here in the bottom of the frame. The righty Watson deals to the lefty Bizzana, who takes a ball high of his own, 1-0. It's been a quiet night for the Australian. Singled in the first, walked in the fifth, grounded out in the third. I say quiet relative to what he's been doing all summer. Hit for the cycle the last time he played Orleans. The 1-0. Breaking ball in for a strike on the upper third to even the count 1-1 on an 82-mile-an-hour pitch from Watson. Originally by way of Rogers, Arkansas, located in the Ozarks, in the northwestern portion of the state. The 1-1, upstairs, gloved by Carpellotti, who symbols or gestures rather to Watson to settle down. He falls behind an account 2-1. Runner on first is Barry Walsh, who reached on an error from Jack Penny at short to start the inning. 2 balls and a strike. Pop up towards the right side of play. Drew Farreau, it's right at him, and he backpedals and makes the catch in the infield dirt above his head for the first out. Now I'll bring up the third man of the order. Third baseman Walker Yannick. Got off to a scorching hot start. Singled in the first, hit a solo shot in the third off Jonathan Gonzalez, and was retired via the infield fly rule in the 5th inning. Walsh still on first after he reached on Jack Penny's error. Righty on righty, 7-3 Orleans, bottom 7. A low miss, 1-0.
Ian, I have an answer for you on the Islanders.
What do you got?
So they're called the Islanders because Texas A&M Corpus Christi is actually located on an island, the South Padre Island. It's along with Mustang Island and some others. I didn't know it was this far deep into the southeast part of the state, about, 2 hours south of Houston.
Well, that's why they play in the Southland Conference. The 1-0, swing and a miss, 1-1.
Other than Florida, where's more south than that?
Southern California?
Nope.
I was just checking something out there, seeing if it would stick. 1 on, 1 out, 1 ball, 1 strike to Yannick. Bizzana jumps off first. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Watson, who was originally committed to Oklahoma out of high school. Middle of his sophomore year, committed to the Sooners in December of 2017. Needed Tommy John surgery along the way. Didn't pitch in 2021. Played at Eastern Oklahoma State instead at the JUCO level, rehabbing and eventually transferring back to the Division I level with Texas A&M Corpus Christi. An even count 2-2 after a high miss from Watson. A runner on first and 1 out. 7-3 Birds, bottom 7. The 2-2 is chopped towards Stallman at third. He throws his second for 1. Farreau throws the first. Not in time. Beating it out for a fielder's choice is Yannick. Forced out at second is Bizzana. That's 2 away. Barry Walsh forced out at second base. Kelly Nicholson, with some pep in his step, makes his way out to the mound after 2 outs recorded by Matthew Watson. Could his night be over? It appears so. A call to the bullpen. Once again, getting it done is Matthew Watson, as Nicholson has a long chat on the mound.
I'm not sure if it's a bullpen move. It might be. Might be a matchup game thing, but I don't think it is.
It's not. Nicholson taps the chest of his new pitcher, relatively new. A couple weeks with the team, Matthew Watson, and heads back to the dugout on the left side of the field. Watson in search of one more out. He faces Tyler McGregor, the left-handed first baseman, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Swing and a miss on the first pitch. He goes behind 0-1.
Watson has not let that error affect him by Penny to start off the inning. He's gone right after these guys.
Walsh reached on the error from Penny and was just forced out at second. Ground ball in the shift. Jack Penny comes over on the right side of the bag, makes the throw, but it pops out of a glove of Matt Hallback. Another defensive miscue from Orleans in the infield. Not helping out Matthew Watson. So moving to second is Yannick. Moving to first, reaching on the air. That goes down as an E3 on Hallback is McGregor. Second error of the inning for the Birds. Second on the game as well.
In all reality, with how Watson's been pitching, he probably should have 4 outs in this inning, and he's still not out of it.
Now he faces the right-handed catcher, Luke Heyman, who takes a strike on the inside part of the plate, 0-1.
When you give other teams extra outs, they most of the time make you pay, and this is not someone you want to face in this situation in Luke Heyman.
First and second, 2 out. No balls in a strike. Here's the pitch. Popped up, shallow right field. Coming up is Fenwick Trimble. He makes the catch and ends the inning. 2 errors do not come back to bite the Birds. Falmouth leaves 2 base runners stranded. The score stays where it is. 7-3, Orleans in front. We go to the top of the 8th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Top of the 8th on the Birds Broadcast Network. On a 73-degree clear night from Falmouth. Orleans clearly in front. 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Birds. It starts with the switch-hitting second baseman Drew Farreau, who bats lefty against the right-handed Cassius Thomas. Thomas deals. And in for a strike on a check swing from Farreau, 0-1. Now, Thomas, we mentioned it in the last half inning, has struggled this summer, giving up 7 earned runs in under 5 innings pitched. He deals the 0-1, and it's shot down to center field for a hit. Drew Farreau with a well-hit baseball to the outfield. For hit number 1 of the night, he's reached each of his first 2 times up. Each of his last 2 times up, rather.
Drew Farreau has been hitting the ball hard all night long, and finally he gets one to drop. Another hard hit ball, and this one finally it finds grass.
So leadoff base runner aboard for Orleans. The second inning in a row. Last inning was a productive one. 3 runs scored. Eddie Micheletti, the lefty, at the plate. Thomas deals, runner goes. Heyman, the throw, it bounces in front of second, and there's no tag applied as it gets away from Travis Bazzana and leaks into the outfield. Farrow is first stolen base on the year. Now 1 for 3 in stolen base attempts, and he moves into scoring position. A ball to Micheletti, he's ahead 1-0. And now a mound visit for the catcher, Heyman, who wants to talk things over with Thomas on the bump.
Like you said, Ian, Thomas can get wild, and the Firebirds are up 4 right now, but they'd love to add on even more insurance runs, not giving Falmouth any chance to come back in this game. Here's a man who put the Firebirds in the lead back earlier in this game.
A 2-run double in the 6th inning to make it 4-2 from Eddie Micheletti. Thomas is 1-0. Is popped up and fouled to left 1-1. The reason why Thomas has been a little less wild as of late, or at least off the field, is because of a special assistant baseball operations person in the Falmouth organization, Steve Cishik, a Falmouth native and a 13-year veteran of Major League Baseball. Pitched for 8 different teams. The 1-1, swing and a miss, 1-2. A well-known sidewinder is a native of Falmouth. Played 3 years of varsity baseball at Falmouth High, and now works in the Falmouth organization. Thomas threw a bullpen just the other day, was throwing strike after strike after strike, and that's because Cishik was working with him on it. Runner on second, nobody out. Thomas is 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Thomas gets back to maybe what he was working with Cishik there. Retires Micheletti on a K. It's his second strikeout of the game for Micheletti, that is.
A good fastball at the top of the zone by Thomas. So young, but so much potential in his right arm.
He was a really highly touted prospect out of Sierra Canyon, a private school in California. Runner on second, 1 out. Matt Hallback, a righty at the plate to face the righty Thomas, who deals. This one is shot to left, down in the gap for a hit. It rolls towards the wall. Drew Farrow on his way home. He's in there standing up. It's an RBI single to make it 8-3 Orleans. Matt Hallback drives in the run.
This offense, 1 through 9, everyone has made an impact tonight. Right there, Drew Farrow steals a base and is, because of that, scores on the single by Matt Hallback. Another hard hit ball. I know we've had other nights where the Firebirds have put up 12 runs and more hits than they have right now in 11. This could be the best offensive night for Orleans when you're talking about hard hit contact.
Brandon Stallman, who made contact his last time up with a leadoff single in the 7th, looks to keep the good times rolling for the Birds. He takes a strike on the inner half of the plate. Thomas's fastball zips in at 93. Stallman goes behind 0-1. Hallback on first after his 87-mile-an-hour hit toward the gap in left center field, which drove in Drew Farrow. The 0-1 in the dirt, blocked up by Heyman for ball 1. You mentioned it, back-to-back great offensive performances for the Firebirds. Last night it was 10 runs off 10 hits, including 4 home runs, a season high. Tonight, 8 runs off 11 hits. And none have left the ballpark. Thomas checks in on Hallback. I beg your pardon, happened so long ago. Jack Penny, a solo shot to lead off the 3rd inning for his 3rd home run of the year. 1 leaves the ballpark for Orleans tonight. 8-3 the score in the top of the 8th. The 1-1 breaking ball at the letters of a lefty Stallman for a ball. 2-1.
We've talked about it. I think at the start of the season, before the draft, the pitching was at an all-time high in the Cape Cod Baseball League. But once those guys get drafted, they move on to their respective pro teams. The pitching in this league has definitely taken a hit.
Stallman blasts one towards the hole at third, and the throw from third baseman Walker Yannick just completely missed second base, and Hallback moves up to third. Finally thrown in by right fielder Barry Walsh. Hit in the 5-6 hole on the ground ball from Stallman, who reaches first. It's an E5 on a wild throw from Walker Yannick, who was in the hole and threw towards second and just completely airmailed the throw for an error. Second of the game for Falmouth.
That's what happens. You put the ball in play, you put pressure on the defense. Another opportunity for Orleans to extend the lead.
Eddie King at the plate, righty on righty. Takes a pitch for a strike, 0-1. Thomas at 80 miles an hour, clips the top of the zone. Runner on third, Hallback. Runner on first, Stallman, who reached on the E5. Thomas the 0-1. It misses outside for ball one. Eddie King with a hit in each of his last 2 times up. He's got a hit in 3 games in a row. His latest knock, a run-scoring double last inning. First of 3 runs last frame for Orleans. 2 on, 1 out, 1 ball, 1 strike. Thomas fires away. Curveball misses high for ball 2.
It hasn't been the walks against Thomas this time, but it's been the hits.
A former top 50 recruit in the country, Thomas, just a true freshman coming out of Duke, headed into his sophomore year. He's struggled here on the Cape. The 2-1 fastball, also way high of the zone at 93 miles an hour. King increases his lead in the count to 3 balls and a strike. A ball away from loading the bases for Fenwick Trimble, who's on deck. Been a tough night for the Falmouth bullpen. The 3-1. Upstairs for a strike, 3-2. You got 4 2/3 innings of 2-run baseball from the starter, Jacob Smith. Ben King and Cassius Thomas out of a bullpen have allowed 6 runs to score. The 3-2 runner goes as the ball ricochets out of Heyman's glove, and Hallback scores. Now going to third is Stallman. He slides in, he's safe. Yannick drops the ball. The defense continues to go by the wayside. It's now 9-3 Orleans. Crooked numbers in each of the last 3 innings. Reaching first, Eddie King. That was ball 4.
Great base running by Stallman. Saw the ball get away. He knew there was going to be a play at the plate, so he took third. A good slide by him. Everything's going right for Orleans right now.
King off first. Stallman off third. Orleans getting runs in almost every way possible. 2 on, 1 out. Fenwick Trimble at the plate. Fouls back the first pitch over the netting. 0-1. You know, Falmouth came into the night the hot team offensively. They scored 29 runs in their last 3 games, all wins. Orleans, who had lost 4 of its last 5 headed in the last night against Wareham, has now scored 19 these last 2 evenings. No balls in a strike. King takes off for second, and there's no throw from Heyman behind the dish, respecting the speed of Eddie King, who slid in for a stolen base. His 7th of the year on 8 stolen base attempts. He leads Orleans. Runners on second and third now. Stallman on third. King on second. 9-3 Birds, top 8. No balls, 2 strikes to Trimble in this righty-on-righty contest with Thomas. He's 0-2. Fastball misses outside for ball 1.
And we talked about yesterday the Firebirds. They put up 10 runs against the worst pitching staff in the league in Wareham. Tonight against a much better pitching staff in Falmouth, facing some top arms. They've done it again. They're proving it that it is for real.
The 1-2 is shot to right center and down for a hit. Stallman scores. King gets the wave. On his way to second is Trimble. It's misplayed in the outfield, and finally the throw cut off by Travis Buzana at short. But not before 2 more runs score for Orleans. It's back-to-back nights with double-digit scores for Orleans. And it's now 11-3.
Humphreys continues to have problems out there in center. Couldn't get the ball in front, went by him. 2 more runs come across. His offense is firing on all cylinders right now.
Very rare you see that from Humphreys, who was the Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year at Dallas Baptist in the spring.
He has not had his best night out there.
Owen Carpellotti at the plate. The lefty swings at the first offering and pulls it foul to left. 0-1. The Georgetown catcher goes behind. It's gotten ugly. 4 runs against Cassius Thomas here in the top of the 8th inning. 2 errors not helping the cause for Falmouth tonight. Trimble off second. He just drove in 2 runs. Stallman and King scored. Pitch in the dirt. Carpellotti puts up the right hand, says, Trimble, don't go. Ball 1, and even count the Carp.
You look at the book. A lot of runs have scored tonight. Everyone but 2 players, or check that 1 player in Colin Tuft, hasn't scored a run. Carpellotti, the only player in the lineup without a hit tonight.
And he puts one, a blooper in the left field, charging. Nobody makes the catch. Bazzana is back to the ball as it dropped towards his right side in the outfield. And Gavin Turley, his Oregon State teammate, was nowhere close to the ball. Carpellotti on second, and now moving up to third is Trimble. If that goes down as a hit, it does. Now everybody in the order has a knock.
It is getting truly very ugly for the Falmouth defense right now.
A pinch hitter in the game for Orleans. It's Jake Casey, replacing Colin Tuft, presumably at the bottom of the order and in left field. A lefty just finished up his sophomore season at Kent State. Runners on second and third, 1 out. It's 11-3 Birds in the top of the 8th. Thomas's pitch misses high and in. 1-0. Orleans well on its way to picking up win number 19 on the year. Getting back up over 500 on the season. Here from Guv Fuller Field, it's quiet. 2 on, 1 out. Thomas deals. Foul ball. 1-1.
Jay Casey has a good feel in this ballpark. Asked him for the game. He said, that was probably the best I felt hitting a home run the last time we were here against Falmouth. Casey with a solo shot in the 9th inning to put the Birds up 5-3 at the time in a 5-4 win. He said he didn't even feel the ball off the bat.
The 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2. That proved to be the game-winning run. A solo shot to right for Casey, who's hit 3 home runs on the summer. Tied for most on this Orleans team. 2 runners on. Trimble on third, Carpellotti on second. Both of them with hits in an 11-3 game. The 1-2. On the ground, chopped over the head of Thomas. It gets into the outfield for another hit. Trimble scores. Carpellotti scores. It's 13-3. Jay Casey off the bench delivers with the 14th hit of the night for the Firebirds. And Dylan, you said it even before it got to this point. The offensive performance, unbelievable. It's gotten to another level. And heading out to the mound is pitching coach Mike Landry.
This is the most amount of runs that the Firebirds have scored this season as well. 13 runs. Everyone's getting a hit, not only in the lineup, but pinch hitters too. Jay Casey with a 2 RBI single. It's been great for the Firebirds. Not only did they need yesterday to get 10 runs across the board, now they get over 10 again tonight, 13, and still more game to go.
That's correct. A call to the bullpen for Falmouth, who has now surrendered 9 runs in the last 2 innings, 6 of them in the top of the 8th. It's a 13-3 game at the Commodores trail to the Firebirds. We'll be back after a pitching change on the Birds Broadcast Network. The Firebirds are clicking on all cylinders. Cassius Thomas knocked out of a ball game before the 9th hitter of the inning due up for the Birds. Back to the top of the order with Jack Penny. He faces a new arm, a left-handed pitcher from Northwestern, Nolan Moore, a 6-foot junior from Colebrook, Connecticut, the northeastern part of the state, transferred to Northwestern from Lafayette. First pitch swinging, grounded towards the right side of the field is Penny. He goes behind 0-1. Runner on first is Jake Casey, who pinch hit for Colin Tuft just a few moments ago and drove in 2 runs with a single, scoring both Fenwick Trimble and Owen Carpellotti to make it 13-3. Orleans in front with 6 runs in this inning alone. A ball and a strike. The Firebirds tying their season high for runs scored in a game. The 1-1. In for a strike, high in the zone, 1-2.
A 6 spot. And only 1 out recorded.
Not a pretty game, unfortunately, for Duke's Cassius Thomas. The 1-2 is lifted into right. It dies ahead of a wall, caught by Barry Walsh for the second out of the inning. Penny nods his head, a little frustrated after he records his second out of the inning, but not a lot to be mad about, given the fact that it's 13-3 Orleans over Falmouth. 2 up, Drew Farreau. Farreau has reached each of his last 2 times up, and he launches one right to short to Bizana. His throw over to first is high, and it goes towards foul territory and into the camera well. That's not in play, so Farreau not only gets first but also takes second. Things getting even uglier for Falmouth here in the 8th inning. It's an error on Bizana. Moving to third is Jake Casey. Runners on second and third for the Orleans Firebirds, who lead 13-3. In the top of the 8th, and now it's Eddie Micheletti due up, the 11th batter of the inning for the Firebirds.
Ian, good we're in this spot because I know you have some memory, some experience calling games like this.
We're going to this again.
Just comes to mind.
2 on, 2 out. More of a new pitcher deals a strike on the inner half, 0-1. It's true. Called games last summer for a very good summer ball team in the Amsterdam Mohawks of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. Won the league. And did so in dominant fashion. The 0-1, also a strike. Micheletti, the lefty, facing the left-handed Moore. Goes behind 0-2. Runner on third is Casey. He drove in 2 runs with a single, and Drew Farreau just reached on an error from Travis Bizana at short. He's on second. The 0-2 offering. Swung on and missed. Micheletti K's on just 3 pitches. A rare 3-strikeout night for Micheletti. Moore ends a nightmarish top of the 8th inning for Falmouth. 6 runs allowed, 13 runs on the game for the Birds, who lead 13-3. We go to the bottom of the 8th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 8th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Orleans with one of, if not its most dominant offensive showing of the season. A 13-3 lead over Falmouth. 6, 7, and 8 due up to face Matthew Watson back on the mound for his second inning of work. The righty faces a right-handed Gavin Turley. His first pitch to him, a strike, up and in, 0-1. Still in a dominant offensive showing despite the fact that Joe Oyama, one of the best players not only on this Firebirds team but in the league period, not playing for the first time in a month. The 0-1 popped foul to right, 0-2.
It shows you how 1 through 9 this lineup can be as dangerous as it can be in the league. Can be up there. I mean, hits from 10 different players tonight, and Joe Oyama is not one of them. Jake Casey off the bench. The starting 9 for the Firebirds tonight has really had a breakout game.
Hits from 10 different players, including Casey. The 0-2 misses outside. 1 and 2 to Turley, who's 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. And now back-to-back days for an Orleans offense that looks unbelievable. And before that, it kind of hit a lull in a 5-game stretch. The 1-2 pitch in the dirt, and it gets by Carpelati's right side for a ball, 2-2. Orleans had lost 4 of 5 games. Barely scraped out a walk-off win against Chatham in the second leg of a doubleheader last Friday. The offense was leaving a lot of base runners stranded. The last 2 nights, not so much. The 2-2 is smoked high in the night sky to left, but dropping in fair play and caught in left field by Jake Casey, who has entered the game and left for Colin Tuft. 1 away. Tuft slides over to right. Base is empty, 1 out. Here's Nathan Humphreys, who's had a bit of a tough night defensively. Known as one of the better defensive players in the country this past season in center field with Dallas Baptist. He goes behind 0-1 in a count. The lefty faces the righty Watson. Humphreys has walked twice tonight. The 0-1 is chopped towards Stallman at third, and the infield grass throws across his body to first and gets the out. Watson continues to look very good, albeit in a game that Orleans leads by 10 runs in the bottom of the 8th, 13-3.
Stallman just showing that last night was a fluke with an error, coming back and making a lot of good plays at third base tonight. He can be a third baseman for this team throughout the season, although he came in just 10 days ago.
The rising junior from UNC Charlotte, rather rising senior. First pitch to Caleb Hall, misses outside 1-0. Stallman began his first 2 years collegiately at State Fair Community College, played last year in the Coastal Plains League. The 1-0 pitch, missed 1-1, a whiff from Hall. Was up and down in the Coastal Plains League last summer, but Stallman's really coming to his own, not only defensively, but from the plate this summer and in the spring with Charlotte. The 1-1, misses low, 2-1. Hit .290 for the 49ers. Started 57 games. Hit 15 doubles, 9 home runs, 47 RBIs. Second on an NCAA tournament team in batting average. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Was also first in 2 baggers and third in runs driven in. Played his best towards the end of the season. Was named to the CUSA All-Tournament team. Helped the 49ers win their first ever CUSA title. The 2-2 popped foul to right. The count stays even with nobody on and 2 out. In a 13-3 game in favor of the Firebirds over the Doors in the bottom of the 8th. Watson trying to get through 2 scoreless innings out of a bullpen. His 2-2 misses in the dirt, blocked up by Carpelati. It bounces in front of him for ball 3.
This is an opportunity for the Firebirds to maybe try out a few new things. Watson maybe trying out a pitch that he hasn't thrown a lot before, or maybe that's not his bread and butter. It's a good opportunity to try out new things and figure out stuff.
What does he figure out on the 3-2? Shot to right, moving towards his left, making the catch is Fenwick Trimble. And the inning ends. Things are working, certainly, For Watson, Matthew Watson with 2 scoreless innings out of a bullpen. He keeps it game 13-3. Firebirds dominating a one-sided affair. After 8, we go to the 9th on the Birds Broadcast Network. We're back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the top of the 9th. Orleans has scored crooked numbers in each of the last 3 innings, posting 11 runs in the last 3 to take a 13-3 lead. Matt Hallback leads off, chops one to short. Travis Bazanas throw to first in time. Over to Tyler McGregor, and the UC San Diego star goes down on 1 pitch. 1 away.
Now, Ian, I know today's a special day for you, so I wanted you to take some time here in the 9th and announce something.
Well, it's not a special day for me. It is a special day for my family.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give a big shout out to my mom, Janice, turning 30 today. I'm just joking, but congratulations to my mom. Happy birthday, Mom. I love you. And I love that the Firebirds have given us enough cushion in this game for me to say that and nobody get angry. Also, happy belated birthday to Sammy Miller's mom, Eileen. Also celebrating a birthday yesterday. 2-0.
A lot of birthdays going around.
Brandon Stallman gets to hit 3-0. The lefty facing the left-handed pitcher Moore. Back out for his second inning of work. The base is empty and 1 out. Dylan, when's my birthday?
Your birthday is May 7th, Ian.
You got it.
Well, I have another birthday for you. Today is my grandpa's birthday, July 28th. Pasquale Pescatore.
Ooh, that's a good name. That's a really good name.
That's right. Came from Italy when he was a kid.
The 3-2, Stallman puts it on the ground towards second. Darnell throws to first. That's out number 2 of the inning.
Ian, my birthday's coming up. Are you getting me anything?
You haven't asked me what you wanted. You haven't told me what you wanted. Do you want anything in particular?
$1 million.
It's not all about money. If I could get you, what's the perfect, I don't know, $25 and under.
Is that my value to you?
No, it's not. It's the value of my bank account.
I know December was not a good month for you.
No, it wasn't, but we won't dive into that on the air. The 1-1 to Eddie King, swing and a miss. He takes strike 2.
$20 to $25. What about something from the Firebirds retail stand?
We do get a 10% discount. King waves at the 0-2 pitch. It's foul down the first base side. 13-3 Orleans. 14 hits on the game. No base runners, 2 outs. First time all year, the Firebirds have scored 10-plus runs in back-to-back games. The 0-2 also poked to right and foul. Still 0-2. So what do you want from the merch stand?
Really nice Firebird shirt. You know, I see Connor Eaton. He wears a similar sweatshirt about every day. It's a gray sweatshirt, light, dry fit material, with the Orleans Firebirds, over the chest.
The 0-2 chopped to short. Travis Bazanas' throw to first is off the bag. Glove by McGregor, who was pulled towards the outfield side of first base. Eddie King reaches on an infield single. Unless they're going to rule it an error, which they do.
Another error on Bazzano. What is that? It's number 2 at least. Possibly 3.
I believe it is 3 on Travis Bazzana, who, to give him the benefit of a doubt, as Fenwick Trimble sends one deep to center field. Racing toward it is Humphreys. He makes the catch, ends the inning. That ball would have been gone at a lot of ballparks from Fenwick Trimble. 371 feet to straight center field. Not here from Guv Fuller Field. One base runner stranded for Orleans. No runs scored for the Firebirds for the first inning since the 5th. But I say 13-3 Birds. We go to the bottom of the 9th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the 9th inning. Orleans leads 13-3 over Falmouth from Guv Fuller Field. A dominant showing from the Firebirds. And now it's time to throw their dominant pitcher, Sean Matson, arguably the best closer in the Cape Cod Baseball League, comes out to the mound and delivers a first pitch strike to Sean Darnell, the bottom man in the order. The lefty faces the righty from Harvard. It's 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Dylan, a much different circumstance the last time compared to when Sean Matson was here from Guv Fuller Field.
Yeah, Sean Matson coming in, 5-3 game, 2 on, nobody out. And he allowed a run, which was under Danny Carrion, because he walked the first 2 batters after a clean 8th inning, but made a diving catch on a bunt and then got the last 2 outs for the save.
The 1-2, check swing towards first base. Matt Hallback slides, throws the first. Matson, tippy toes on the bag, gets the out. A different circumstance, the same field, and so far the same result. Matson puts one away with a ground out from Darnell.
Ian, I actually have a problem with what you said. You said Sean Matson was arguably the best closer in the league. How do you get better than zero ERA?
I'm a Firebirds broadcaster. I have to remain some level on unbiasedness. I think I agree with you. He is the best closer.
That's not unbiased. He hasn't allowed a run yet this year. How much better can the guy get?
Just try not to be a homer.
I don't think that's a homer. I mean, I'll say it. I think Cam Hill's probably going to win the Cy Young. But Sean Matson, I mean, 0 ERA, 16 innings, now 17 innings after the out.
It would be very surprising if there was a world. So ball and a strike, by the way, to the top man of the order, Barry Walsh. If there was a world where he does not win the Reliever of the Year award. 1-2.
I think there would be some uproar from Orleans. I'd probably be at the lead of that charge.
20 strikeouts, only 2 walks on the year. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. It doesn't matter if it's a close game or if it's not. Sean Matson's going to continue to throw strikes, get strikeouts, and get outs, period. 1 away from the game. 13-3 Orleans in front. Nobody on, 2 out. It comes down to Travis Bizzano, who swings at the first pitch and drops it in the left for a base hit. Rolls towards Jake Casey, who throws it in the short. Jack Penny cuts it off. It's a single. A 2-out single for Travis Bizzano, his second hit of the night.
He's great, going the opposite way for a hit. Oh, yeah, and I was instructed by our MLB scout liaison. He likes to give us topics to talk about, but Sean Matson makes it really tough to talk about stuff in this inning because he's going so fast. He wanted us to talk about go-to gas station snacks.
High fly, left field, Walker Yannick, deep to the wall, caught by Jake Casey. Or not. And makes it to distance. Just a joke. Orleans the win. 13-3, Sean Matson gets the final 3 outs. And to answer your question, Dylan, I'm always going for a Monster Energy.
Not a bad choice. I'm a water and gummy bears type of guy. But what a night. What a night for the Firebirds. They put up 13 runs. A good win for the team as well. A 10-run win. 14 hits. I mean, you can't draw it up better than this. Good pitching. Started with Jonathan Gonzalez, Connor Eaton, Matthew Watson, and then Sean Matson. What's better than this? A good win going into the off day as well. Make it 2 in a row in the victory column for the Firebirds.
2 dominant wins in a row for Orleans. Defeated Wareham 10-6 yesterday. And a 13-3 showing tonight, powered by 14 hits, benefited from 4 Falmouth errors, scored 6 of their 13 runs in the 8th inning. As we start cooling down here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Dylan, this had to be, as Orleans ties the season high in runs scored, the most dominant offensive showing of the season.
You know, the Brewster game's up there just because they scored 13 runs and, was it 6.5 innings? But tonight, they just continue to hit the ball hard no matter what. They, even when the outs didn't, or when the balls didn't fall early, they started getting results later. We're going to bring on a player who had a great game tonight on the postgame interview, Fenwick Trimble, who's heading over to the booth here. Fenwick with 2 hits tonight and a walk. We'll get him down into the chair. No booth cam today, Fenwick. We're on the radio.
Cool.
But a 13-3 win over Falmouth. After yesterday, a 10-6 win, you double up. You go double digits for the second time back-to-back. How does this feel as an offense?
You know, it feels great. I mean, just double-digit runs, double-digit hits. It's a good day at the plate. So for the team. So I mean, just after we hit a little cold streak there with a couple games, but to get back in the win column, back-to-back games, it feels great. You know, we all work really hard. We enjoy each other's time, and we got a good thing going here.
First at bat, you lined out to shortstop. You hit it really hard, and that could take a hit on you mentally, not getting the results. But you went back and you continued hitting the ball hard tonight in almost every at bat.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game. You just always have that attitude: get the next one, learn from your at bat, get the next one. You know, and you can't. If you barrel the ball, you can't control the outcome. And any at bat, you can't really control the outcome. But you know, just sticking to it and keep doing, like, having a good approach. Skip talks about approach all the time, and it's something we've really been focusing up on because some of us have gotten away from, our approaches, and it worked out really well for us the last 2 nights.
When the lineup came out this morning and Joe Oyama wasn't in it for the 30th straight game, it was a question of who was going to step up because he's been carrying the offense a lot throughout this season, and everybody stepped up in the lineup. 10 players, including Jake Casey, who came as a pinch hitter with a hit. What's the potential for this offense, and is this a great sign going into the final week of the season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone's up here for a reason, right? Everyone's obviously the best of their college team, so everyone can hit. We know that. It's just a matter of, like, getting going at the right time. And, Joey and I, he needed a rest day. It's just part of it. He's played every day, it seems like. But, yeah, he's been great. And, everyone stepped up tonight, and he'll be back in tomorrow, and we'll the next day, off day tomorrow. And we'll be smooth sailing.
Off day tomorrow, but I'll tell you this. The Firebirds can clinch the playoffs tomorrow with a loss by Chatham against Cotuit. What does that say about your season and the Firebirds season so far?
It's just we've put ourselves in this position. you know, we've been playing pretty good ball overall, and it's awesome. I mean, we've all been working hard, and just to have that opportunity tomorrow if Chatham loses is just a great feeling.
And last question for you. I know team chemistry has been big with this team since pretty much day one. Who have been coaches, players that have been the greatest in terms of building that?
You know, all the coaches are on the same page with everything, and that's been huge for us. You know, they're all very, very character-oriented over obviously results and how you play. But and that's been big for us. We've all kind of bought into their style of coaching, and we love it. And everyone just meshes together so well, and that's what's been big for us this summer. It's made it a lot of fun, and you know, it's getting us going in the right direction at the right time.
Fenwick Trimble with 2 hits tonight, along with a walk to reach base in half of his at-bats. Thanks for joining the Cooling Down post-game show. And the headset back to Ian. Go celebrate with the guys. A 13-3 win for the Firebirds moves them to 19-18 on the season as we continue cooling down. Ian, before we go, of course, we got to pay the bills, but we got to give some score updates from around the league.
100%. We'll start from Dunkin' Donut Park in Hartford, Connecticut, the home of a minor league team, where the Hyannis Harbor Hawks stayed hot, took down the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox, the East Division leaders, 8-0 in a one-sided affair. I know you were talking about it with Fenwick in your interview, but Brewster earlier today took down Chatham 5-1 from Stony Brook, meaning that with this Orleans win against Falmouth, if the Anglers lose tomorrow, the only team playing tomorrow, Chatham, and of course its opponent, if Chatham loses, then Orleans clinches a playoff spot and makes its return of a playoffs for a second year in a row. Chatham has a tough task. It faces the Katuitt Kettleers, who are throwing the reigning CCBL pitcher of the week in Jansen Kiesel. So Chatham, bottom team in the East, faces an uphill climb tomorrow, so make sure to stay tuned to our social medias to see if the Firebirds can clinch a playoff spot. Outside of that, Wareham took down Harwich 6-3 from Spillane Field, and Katuitt in the top of the ninth leads Bourne 8-7 from Doran Park, the only game still active here tonight.
So Orleans grows the lead on second place, now up 5 points on Harwich, who sits at 33. The Firebirds have 38. Brewster moves up to 32 as well. But before we go, 9:12 on the clock, the Firebirds coming together in a huddle before they head back on the bus and head back to Orleans. Off day tomorrow, but then a big day Friday. A doubleheader between the Chatham Anglers and the Firebirds. The first game will be a resumption of game a few weeks ago. It's in the 4th inning. It's a tie game, 5-5. 3-2 is the count on the batter, with Grayson Carter on the mound as well. And the bases are loaded for Chatham in the bottom of the 4th. That'll start at 5 o'clock from Veterans Field, and then a full 9-inning game at 7 o'clock from Chatham as well. So tune in. We'll have every game. We'll have every inning, every pitch here on the Birds Broadcast Network. But Ian, before we go, we got to thank our post-game sponsor.
That being Mazzio Construction. Mazzio Construction LLC worked hard to build a resume for itself. Let them put their knowledge, experience, and passion together to work for you. Their team is committed to exceed your expectations. New home, addition to existing home, renovation, they handle it all. They work close with their clients to make sure that all their needs are met. They're honest, on time with schedule, and passionate about what they do. Give them a call. Let them introduce you to their work. Let's see how they can help you. Mazzio Construction, our post-game sponsor, our pre-game sponsor, of course, being Siemens Bank. Got to thank them both for helping us out always.
Firebirds win 13-3 the final here in Falmouth. We'll see you guys on Friday.